You guys doing this fine? Evening. Welcome to space.
Sophisticated, relaxing.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of invigorating.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody doesn't appreciate it like we connoisseurs do.
True. Everybody doesn't appreciate it the way we connoisseurs do. Artorius, thanks for the big five. Big five gifties. Landed on some chatters. Thanks for the grip. Apprege. Barred from entry. With the first chat message.
Good job, King.
First chat message, and it was big. He got it. Better luck next time, everybody else. It's pouring by you. This is CGO Busta. 0 fireworks in the forecast. Let's go. Ordmandius thinks it's tier 115. 15 big ones. Seems the Briots decided to celebrate their L by teasing Chorfs. Damn. How embarrassing. For people who don't want Chorfs. Which honestly is kind of me. If you 30,000 foot view Chorfs, they're awesome. Who doesn't want, like, evil, say, like, death metal, satanic, evil dwarves with hell industry, you know? Dark iron, lava shit, right? Cannons and stuff. That's badass from 30,000 feet. The old world stuff, don't care. But I'm sure they can make them awesome. In this Age of Sigmar. I do wish they had a little house cleaning on the armies they do have instead of rolling out a new one, but that's neither a new complaint nor something they seem to really give too much of a shit about, but whatever. Female stacked Chorfs, please. 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 The score is 1776 to 1812. Hey, all right. Ohio River Valley. Man, you missed when Mass Effect was just awesome. Yeah, Mass Effect 1 and 2. One of the great back-to-back RPGs. Ended up being very different, those two games. Went back and played them after a long time, and I think I liked the first one more. Which is crazy, because 2 had the better characters in it. But 1 didn't age as, like, back in the day, I'm like, 1 was kind of cool, but 2 was where it's at. I went back and played them both. 1 was better than I gave it credit for, I'm going to be honest. Even though your companions were hella lame. Yeah, 2 had more fun class and ability system. Better companions, more companions, everything like that. Way more memes, obviously. But the overall plot line and atmosphere were a lot worse. Now, you can kind of take or leave that thing if everything else is fun, right? Remember, like, typically everybody's favorite Final Fantasy is the one with the characters they like the most, not necessarily the one with the most cogent plot line or whatever, right? So that's kind of whatever it is. Imagine if they updated some armies and foot heroes don't count. I wish. I wish. Streamlabs is thanking and welcoming Red Letter 16. All right. Hey, I like me some RLM. Could that be our Lord and Savior? Rich Evans. Expensive ovens. The new KL models are awesome. GW can just take my money if they have stuff like that, but Chorfs, to be honest, period. Nothing else after that. Hey, all right, good comment. Mass Effect, here there be fuckable aliens. It is our God-given American duty to fuck aliens we find, okay? It's just very helpful when they're hot. Have you messed with Claire Obscure at all? Yes, Pixel G. I played it on stream, but I probably played it too early because nobody wanted spoilers, and so they stopped watching it for that reason. And I'm like, hey, all right, well, I'll play it anyway. My first playthrough of Claire Obscure, I wanted to parry everything. I wanted to never dodge and just try to work on the parrying. and I wanted to play with one character instead of a party. And it was really fun, sometimes even a little challenging. Beat the like super last boss, the really hard guy, and it took me a while. I had to really practice to beat it with one character and only parrying. Now I could have just come up with some combo that like Giga one-shots him, but I wanted to do it like, oh, this is Dark Souls, I'm gonna like learn and get good, you know, and I did, but it took a long time. And then I did New Game Plus, and went and did everything all over again, and at the end of it, I beat him on New Game Plus, except this time by coming up with some goofy combo for fun. And I destroyed him, and I think he was only able to act like one time. But it was sick. It's my game of the year, and it's not even close. It puts Final Fantasy, from which it was inspired, to absolute shame at the crap that they're putting out nowadays. Yeah, Clear Obscure, probably the best game I've played past 5 years, easy. Better than Baldur's Gate 3, even. So good. So wonderful. And you know me, I fucking bitch about everything, right? I'm that onion on my belt, old school gamer, you know? Oh, I've been playing games since the Apple II and MS-DOS and stuff like this. Games nowadays, everything sucks, blah, blah, blah. That's me, right? And Clair Obscur it was like, damn, they can still make good games. I have basically no complaints except for it was way too easy. The whole game. It was hella easy. Almost insultingly easy. And I had to keep coming up with self-limitations to make the difficulty of the game interesting, like only playing with one character and only parrying and all this other stuff and turning it on hard mode, and it was still like hella easy. There were the secret last guy that I won't spoil anything was kind of challenging. And only then if you choose to do it the right way instead of just comboing him. So I guess that would be like maybe my one complaint. Did you see what Square Enix said? No, I didn't. Are they laying people off? That's what video game companies do now. They're not laying people off. Okay, well, there's always hope for the future. They said, wow, this game is sick, we should do this. Look, if you don't have anything nice to say, you did make games like that. That's how you got big and powerful and rich, by making games like that. And then you wanted to chase the mystical new player. The moms and pops and kids and MILFs on their phones who run Twitch. The general audience. You wanted to chase them. And you said, RPGs? Nah. Everything has to be real-time combat. Everything's basically a third-person action-adventure game. The most recent one is more Devil May Cry than it is Final Fantasy. Hey, the fans who made you your billions, we're still here waiting. You could be making good games, if you wish. So good idea. I hope it works out for him. And then they laid people off. Well, good. At least they're laying people off. That's good. That's good. I like how that channel in my Discord has become like a religious cult, worshipping the concept of layoffs every time. Say it. Say the line, Bart. More layoffs, please. It's the only way. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way. You know, I don't want to have to celebrate layoffs. Everybody who only ever gets laid off had nothing to do with the worst decisions ever. They're just little bean counters doing what they are told to do by their bosses. Many of them are even great at their jobs. They're just told to do shitty things that are bad ideas. But the only way you can get to the people in charge that are the ones that are making the worst decisions ever, right? Oh, let's make a marathon game, except it should be a fucking drop shooter, PvP only experience, and we'll rip off all the art and do nothing with the lore of the memory of what people liked Marathon for. The guy who said that is immune to layoffs until the layoffs have risen high enough to drown him, right? And this is why we need more layoffs. They have to keep happening until there's no one left but those people that make those initial worse decisions. And I wish there was a better way to get to them, but there just isn't. They're insulated. And so millions must be laid off. Speaking of, you know, maybe one of the core parts of the team of Claire Obscure, they used to work for Ubisoft France. Did you know that? You know Ubisoft, the absolute slop factory that has only made garbage trash for the past 17 straight years? Ubisoft, the butt of the joke of UIs and games and AAA, you know? Some of the people who made Claire Obscure used to work there. They got laid off. And then they made Claire Obscure, the best game in the last 10 years. And so if you're looking for someone to blame for the quality of games, it might not be the people getting laid off. It might be the people telling those people what to do. The upper management, the bosses and the bosses' bosses. The buck stops here. I hold them responsible. But look, layoffs work. Nature's healing. What an indictment of the people in charge of Ubisoft when you lay random people off and they make the best game in a decade. Yeah. Imagine spending all that money to get great devs and then ordering them to make slop. Yeah, hey, let's spend $300 million buying a team that's really good at making silly RPGs and then tell them to make Team Fortress ripoff. Damn, why didn't this work out? Michael Jordan playing baseball? Like, what are you guys doing? Golden parachutes getting into their heads. Anyway, good shit. Yeah, Old Man Who Yells at Cloud, seal of approval for Claire Obscure. Also, play it in French. The voices, you know? It's just like anime or a foreign movie or whatever. Play it in the original language with subtitles. You know what David Hayter sounds like or whatever the fuck. Play it in the original voices, because the original director directed them in his native language. It's wonderful. And Renoir in French. Ooh. Perfect. What a fucking voice. Line delivery is wonderful. Anyway. And, if you can't read, then still do it in French and read the subtitles. I don't know. If you can't read while you're playing an RPG, play the Horse Girl game. I'm sure it's great. After 20 years of watching WoW clones fail, how do execs keep saying we can just do that and steal done? Yeah, after 20 years of watching WoW clones fail, WoW itself is in decline. I know. Let's spend $400 million on an MMO. What? Why are you in charge of anything? You learned to read as a kid so you could play RPGs? I didn't know I was training for that, but apparently I was. They started coming out with those things when I was a kid. RPGs. What's the plan? We're traveling through space, which is a place that America conquered when we used to be good at doing stuff. We're walking America space right now. And then I think there's some Age of Sigmar news. And then I'm going to play fucking EverQuest because I don't have an AOS game lined up. And I went outside today for a job, and I got some weird fucking stories out of it. And so I'm going to tell you guys some weird stories about 4th of July. HeyWoah Goes Outside edition at the parade. While I, like, kill monsters in a game made in 1999. Any predictions for the Warhammer preview? It's probably Chorfs. To my chagrin.
So fucking big. I'm sorry, my dude, but you're huge.
So fucking big. Arturians thinks it's bits. We have the year, that year. How the fuck do we say 11/11? Well, we have to wait a long time, don't we? We have to wait until it's 5 digits. Or maybe just all 2s, right? If you're talking about The Hobbit, it would be 1100D11, I think, right? Because he said, what was his birthday? 11D1 to say 111. They go that way for that. Merkel was second, actually. Well, to space itself, sure. But to the real prize, the moon, eat shit. Eat shit, Ruskies. Well, USSR at the time. And then it collapsed and its satellite countries gained freedom from it. And then they've been trying to claw their way back ever since. Most recently, Ukraine. Hope that doesn't go well for Russia, but it might. It is too bad. I have friends in Ukraine. And that was very meaningful to me. I was really hoping America would step up and be a leader and project power in a good way. But instead we got this shit and left them out to dry. Very sad. Luckily they're not dead. Although one of them is. Am I bringing us down? Is this... am I ruining the moment here? Sorry. First man on the goon. Yeah, this is one small dick for man. One giant schlong for mankind. You're from Poland, so you know what's going on. All you have to do is ask the countries neighboring. Ask the countries around them. How do you guys feel about this, Russia? Countries that have history with them, neighboring them, you know, right next to it, Finland, stuff like that. How do you guys feel about that? I just trust the people near it. Have friends in old... Interestingly enough, so I don't go outside, but WoW private way back in the day, WoW private servers. And not just Nostalrius, but that as well. I randomly became friends with a bunch of Finns and Ukrainians and stuff like that. Friendships that have lasted time. You know, we don't talk very much, but it's online people. And that's where I kind of learned about a little bit of the goings-on of it. My Dan and stuff like that. Been playing some Spearhead at my local store. Wanted to hear your experiences with it. I played Spearhead twice on stream. And I feel that Spearhead is very important for the game. You need an on-ramp for people that only want to buy in like half an army maybe. It's a good on-ramp for new players and stuff. It's very balanced, plays reasonably quickly once you get used to it. And I found, you know, the 2 games I played of it, they did a good job balancing it so that most of the games seemed to be pretty close. And I liked the decisions you could make. That being said, the thing I really like about Age of Sigmar is big armies and customization. And so Spearhead has neither of those 2 things for me. And so I don't want to ever play Spearhead again. But I only have good things to say about it. So that's like my opinion on Spearhead, top to bottom. Exclamation point, fact. All right. Yeah, I don't have a frequently asked question, sorry. Should we do the news? Is it news time? I got some news to get out of the way, you know. Exclamation point goon. Okay. Not on this site. Maybe when I'm also on Kick. Makes sense, it's made you want to start collecting your SE army, so I guess it's working. Yeah, it's good for new players. Dipping their toes in. See if they like the whole business. When I started the game, I'm just like, I don't care about 1K or a growth league or Path to Glory. Fuck all that shit. I want to play the game. I want to play 2,000 points. And so I played with empty bases for a while, trying to figure out what I wanted to play, and then I just bought a 2K army, because that's the game. And I had a lot of fun. But I realized much later that that's abnormal. Most people like to creep into it over time. All right. Different strokes, no big deal. Yeah, it is a way better introduction than just a 1,000 point game. That was the real problem they solved, Barnacles, that's true. Is that 1,000 point game of Age of Sigmar is fucking terrible and very unbalanced, and whoever gets a double turn simply wins instantly. At 2K, it's less like that. And so they needed a Spearhead custom thing because the game doesn't scale down well at all. It scales up great. 3,000 points is actually more fun and balanced than 2,000. And I imagine maybe 4,000 is even more so, who knows. The game scales up pretty well, doesn't scale down very well, so they needed to come up with custom rules for it, and they did. If I see myself as a Timmy, but I want to play something that is just not made of glass, but also has a depth of playstyles, what is that in AOS? Gloomspite? Timmy. Well, it's a Timmy game, first of all. You can find some Timmy shit in almost any army. Am I a broken record if I say Slaves to Darkness is kind of nice? Slaves to Darkness, Stormcast. Just big dudes with good saves, tons of damage, monster options. Stormcast maybe more so for the Timmy stuff because Stormcast dragons are actually playable and huge. Less so for Slaves to Darkness. There really aren't big punchy monsters in Slaves to Darkness, but there's more to being Timmy than just having a big model. You know, sometimes the Timmy is in the mechanics. What else is really good Timmy? Skaven is, so an example would be Skaven, right? Yeah, all the Skaven guys are tiny and squiggly and weird, but mechanically speaking, Skaven is maybe the Timmiest army. Because you have wacky rules that involve randomness, but they're always good. You always get your thing, it's just you might blow up afterwards, and that's funny. So Skaven's an example where it's not necessarily visually Timmy, but it's mechanically Timmy. And sometimes these things are distinct. And, you know, of course, there's no accounting for taste as far as the aesthetics of the army that you like, and so you're going to have to make those choices yourself. What's my favorite faction lore or game-wise? Lore-wise, huh? Stormcast is actually very good lore-wise, unironically. And it's the thing that everybody makes fun of, and they can do surface-level shit, but it's actually interesting lore-wise. Khorne is actually quite interesting lore-wise. Read the books about Korgus Cool, especially the most recent one. He's a fucking Chad. What an interesting end to the... I guess I won't spoil it, but the Korgus Coolio versus Hammer, Hand, Hammer, Hammer Hand, and the way that arc ends was very surprising and satisfying, and surprisingly deep for a Khorne thing. Question about your insight, when to reinforce. You know, it depends, but elaborate. I think you gotta use at least one reinforced unit, to be honest. You need something that's capable of really changing the game when it gets its charge off or when it does its thing. If you're playing against somebody with a Mega Gargant, you gotta be able to actually mathematically kill that thing. If things go right, your army has to be capable of it somehow. And so I feel like at least one reinforced unit is still necessary even in 4th edition. Now, or even in this GHB. Now, before the GHB, most army lists were just 2 reinforced blocks of I can kill anything shit kickers, and then stuff, like little tiny stuff to just get battle tactics. Now, I think you have to go too many places. You have to have too many boots on the ground and have too much movement. I think that second giant block turns into more utility guys. But at the core of it, you do need that one big hammer that is capable of fucking something up. Still, I think. And this is obviously going to depend on armies, right? But in general, I think that's the case. I'm scrolling up to see if I didn't miss anything. You think GSG is more Timmy? Visually, thematically, sculpt-wise. Gloomspite is very funny, characterful. Timmy, I suppose. Rules and mechanics, though, I think it's awful. The Trogs are very simple, and they just do what's printed on the can, so those are kind of good. To me, and this is a personal preference maybe, every Gloomspite Gets rule that's not Trogs is actually annoying to play with and frustrating. But maybe I'm being too judgmental, or maybe I have a different idea of fun than Gloomspite players, but it's annoying to play with. And the giant double meatball sucks at fighting. What the fuck is that? Who wants that? What Timmy is like, oh, the coolest, biggest centerpiece in the army that's a double meatballs? Yeah, they just suck at fighting. Monster. Like, what? Why? Anyway, they need to learn from Old World Night Goblins. They need to learn from Age of Sigmar. They had funny stuff to do. They never were really that powerful, like, meta-wise or anything, but they had good, fun rules here and there throughout the history of AOS. Just use those. I don't know. Timmy sees 800 Stormcast War Scrolls and bounces off. Yeah, perhaps. There's good Timmy stuff in there if you care to look for it, which might be antithetical to the Timmy experience, but I mean, if you don't want to even look, you can lead a horse to water. Plastic Crack did an article on monotonous list building, I believe. That sounds like him. I like his articles. I think list building is greatly improved this GHB. Although 4th edition list building was the worst it's ever been in the history of the game. So saying it's an improvement is sort of like, yeah, alright, but how much? A decent amount. Having fun building lists is still, like, you know, we're still a far cry from the high watermark that was Malign Portent's 2nd edition, where it was legitimately fun and interesting to just brew lists. We need to get that back in the game. We took one single step towards it. We got about 9 or 10 left to go. Tenth Ed is a blight in 40k. Yeah, and unfortunately, because 40k is the big game and we're the second game, the trends that 40k does, we kind of like have to follow them, it seems. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. No, don't pull us towards 10th edition 40k, but its gravity is mighty. I liked it better when we were stealing stuff from each other and improving them. Somebody asked a question about 40k earlier, and it was, do I know enough about 40k to do a Shawnee Timmy Spike thing? No, I don't. I know enough about 40k to be the guy in the, like, meme where it's like, I asked my dad to tell me the name of all the 40k armies based on visuals alone because he doesn't know anything. That would be me. I know as much about 40k as anyone who was alive when Tau came out and my college roommates bought it, and knows like internet memes from 2006. Like that's my knowledge of 40k. Anyway, at the in an effort not to make this music become too repetitive, because it is, I'm gonna hit up some news. Hey, all right. Enlist a pair of giant sharks or an Amarty raiding party with 2 new regiments of renown. This is July 2504. Okay. With the Idoneth Deepkin riding the wave into pre-order territory on Saturday, we've primed you for their arrival with coverage from their new army rule and 2 armies of renown in the battle tome. What about those of you who want to bring your Idoneth Deepkin into battle with your other armies? Who cares? Allies suck. 2 new regiments in renown ensure that you can dip your toe into the foreboding ocean where Scythe lurk. And wouldn't you know it, they're even willing to share a battlefield with the Lumineth Realm Lorods. A big deal if you know their fractious history. That being the same god made both of these. They made the Idoneth first. It was considered a failure. They hated their dad, arguably rightfully. Look, both made mistakes. And then the Lumineth were made afterwards. No matter how cool your army of striding tree lords, soaring Endrin, powered Dwarden, or ferocious Seraphon is, it can always be cooler with the addition of 2 sharks. You'll certainly not regret fielding a pair of Akelian Alapexes, also known as the Bloodthirsty Shiva, as these fast and deadly creatures can chase down the toughest foes. Yeah, in general, I come down against allies, and I'm like, look, I want to play ogres. I didn't choose the ogre army to put a Mega Gargant in my ogre army because the Mega Gargant is better than my ogres. That feels bad. I don't want that. If I wanted to play sharks, I would play Idoneth Deepkin. So it is my supreme hope that allies are always bad, because your guys should be the best thing you can play in your own army. It feels bad twice when somebody else's guys are better in your army than your own guys, right? If you want to do it for like, I'm going to take a picture of them on a display board, you know, role-playing wise, I guess knock yourself out. But it should never be good, in my opinion. But hey, all right. Bloodthirsty Shiver hunt of the Bloodthirsty Shiver. If both units in this regiment of renown are within each other's combat range, pick one of the following effects to apply until the start of your next turn. Evasive Approach, when both units in this regiment of renown are within each other's combat range, subtract 1 from hit rolls, target them. And when both of them are within, okay, have crit 2 hits. Okay, so take 2 units and they just stay next to each other the whole time, and then they get bonuses. Hey, all right. Amazing, interesting rules. Anyway, Namarti's Shore Raid launched the attack. Pick each unit in this regiment that is in the Ether Sea. Okay, you get a big deep strike of your troop choices, and the troops are bad. But they might be good in this book, so who knows? Yep, just set them up, and then they can move D3, so they can maybe do a 6-inch charge or something like that. Hey, all right. Nice article. Nice shitty article, don't care. Enact the will of Volturnos or defend the Spirit Reeves with 2 new armies of renown. Can you just, like, put all the rules in the book and you can just use whatever rules you want when you're building your army? Must we segregate all this stuff? Can't you just put all the rules in the book and you use the rules that you want to build that army? Why must we build walls between each other like this? Damn, I'm really yelling at Cloud this evening. I apologize. The Wardens of Choralium personify the oceanic power of the Idoneth, a combination of Isharan, Nemarti, and Akelian infantry units led by a single-eyed Dolan of Math Lan. His army's Huak is deploying the Eidolon in reserve when empowering the spirits of the Corellium, earning Corellium spirit points, that's a mouthful, bad name, by rolling high when casting spells, destroying enemy units, or having friendly units destroyed. Each turn you can gain up to 1 Corellium spirit point. You gain 1 spirit point for the first time, the first time one of the following occurs in a turn. Once per turn, use as a sorcerer, activate this ability only as a sorcery. Okay. You make an unmodified casting roll of 8 or more, friendly wizard. Enemy units destroyed while they're within 12 of any Isharans, or a friendly unit is destroyed while within 12 of any friendly Isharan units. Okay, so when your stuff dies, when you kill something, or when you roll really high, as long as your guys are next to each other. Got it. When you have 3 points, you can call forth the tsunami and deploy Eidolon anywhere, including directly into combat, big, dealing damage as it manifests in a furious deluge of Nurgle. After making a big splash, you can also choose to ignore their innate Rampagni abilities and invoke the Wrath of Mathlan and fight twice, with the usual strike's last penalty for the second attack. Okay, so this is a combo. We got a combo deck. First you cast Dark Ritual, and then you put Infernal Tutor on the stack. In response, sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond, and then you tutor through your deck for Tendrils of Agony. And then they Flusterstorm you because you didn't have enough mana for the Cabal Ritual before that. I don't know. Should have Gitaxian probed them. That's a lot of bonuses for this thing. Funny. Inflict D3 mortal to each enemy unit in combat with it. That's funny. With one of your 3 possible points per turn locked behind spellcasting, you have to use your bespoke spell lore. Hopefully that lore is good now. Allows you to skim some soul stuff off the top to revive D6 Nemarti in a unit of Thralls or Reavers. Usually you're not reviving these guys because they die real easy, but who knows? Slipstream lets you move a unit up to D6 as long as you stay out of combat range. That's good. That's a good ability. And these tenacious wardens can also summon the incarnate of the deep, so you can have 2 wave-based terrors running rampant. Are these guys going to be something you can choose to play with? It seems like maybe. The answer is yes, but in this particular army of renown, you have to summon them, but they're extra good, maybe? Maybe that's how this works. The Shield of Ulysses. I'm sorry. The Shield of Ulcer. Hiss. You must spend 1 as Drazor point. You're just making up. I know this is all made up words, but these are 2 made up of words. These words are 2 made up. You gotta chill with these made up points. As Myth Draenor point. Each time a friendly first phalanx unit uses the ability. Friendly unit can use retreat and still shoot or charge. No mortal damage is inflicted by the retreat. Okay. And the Spear of Asmodon. The Spear of Asphalt. You spend 1 Azzy Draenor point. Not in combat to use the ability. Add 1 to charge rolls. Okay. How do you get these points? We won't say exactly, but in each of your hero phases, you earn D3 points that can be spent on, on stuff. Got it. It's hard to say if any of this stuff is going to be good or not. We have to know the whole picture, right? But I can complain about some surface level stuff at least. And who knows, maybe you can't use any of this because it's locked in an Army of Renown you don't want. Instead of just choosing it as a sub-faction, which is what Armies of Renown used to be called. And they were better when they were. Hey, nice shitty article. Take control of the tides with a new army rule in Battletome Idoneth Deepkin. Abandoned creations of Teclis, the Idoneth Deepkin, are plagued by an enervating curse of the soul that puts them constantly on a hunt for survival. After many long years of living in isolation and raiding the mortal realms for soul stuff, their homes are now under threat as war racks the 8 realms. Corruption threatens their sacred Corelliums, which is maybe a Colosseum out of coral. Is this Coral Colosseum, I guess? That's got to be the etymology of this thing. And the precious souls stored within. Mathleilela, Oracle of the Abyss, is ascended from the Hadapelagic. Oh, that's a deepness level of the ocean for the words at home. Nice one. Regions of Gairan, accompanied by the Incarnate of the Sea, joined by new icons of the sea and storm. As previously hinted, new Battletome features a change to the core rule of the army. Yeah, I knew this day would come. The Tides of Death were too fun and cool and interesting. We have to get rid of them. You know, it feels too much like the old game, whose rules were kind of wacky and maybe too good sometimes, but fun and interesting. You can't have that. You got to chisel off all those round edges. The old Tides of Death has been replaced by 2 separate tracks, multi-track drifting. It represents the 2 faces of the Idoneth, the Tides of the Sea and the Tides of the Storm. You may use 1 Tidal ability once per battle round, and your first choice is either the Concealing Tide from the former, which makes your units harder to hit unless you charge, or Unpredictable Tide, which lets you redeploy 1 unit near a battlefield edge. You can only use this ability if you did not use it in the previous, and you have not used another Tidal ability. For the rest of the battle rounds, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks target-friendly IDK units that did not use any charge abilities. Okay, so Concealing Tide is good for automatically defeating an ogre army, maybe any destruction. So, defeat an ogre army with this one simple trick, Concealing Tide. You win. You got me. And then Unpredictable Tide. This is once per battle round, any hero phase teleport. Remove the target from the battlefield, set it up again, battlefield edge more than 9. Okay. I like Concealing Tide a lot more, although sometimes, depending on your battle tactics, you might choose this one. You get to choose a second ability in the next battle round, either continuing progress on your previous track, or you can hot swap, like SATA hard drives, to the opposite tract. Importantly, swapping from one set of tides to the other resets your progress. So if you swap from Concealing, or from Sea to Storm, you probably go Concealing Tide and then Unpredictable, rather than jumping to Inexorable. Got it. It all makes sense to me. Swift Tide is battle round 2, which is just about the last round of the game, you know, one before it. For the rest of the battlefield, round friendly IDK units can run and still shoot and charge. That's great. Yeah, just everybody run and charge. Great. Or Inexorable. -1 from the Ren characteristic weapons used for attacks target IDK units. Still good. Yeah, that's good. So you can't, essentially you can't double up on defense ones. You have to, you go turn 1, defense 1, then Unpredictable 1, and then you get to this one. -1 from Rend is a lot worse than -1 to hit, but it's still nice for defense. And then what do we get for battle round 3, the home run round? Those who manage to ride the momentum of the waves unlock Swift Tide, which which allows IDK to run and charge, and inexorable. The third step of the C, tracked, grants strike first for all friendly Idoneth. Wait, they kept it? I really thought this would be gone. I thought this would be gone. I'm surprised. I thought they'd get rid of this thing. Hey, all right. So the C keeps whole army deep strike, while Storm gives crit mortal to your melee weapons, which is arguably better, depending on what you want. Damn, these are both really strong. These are both really strong. But for the entirety of your turn, it is all over. Okay. I needed the, fun detected and destroyed. Okay, so strike first is trash now.
Good job, King.
Yeah. All right, strike first is trash. Crit mortal's where it's at. So let's see. That means, well, which track is the track that you want to be on, track-wise? Tides of the Sea is the better one here. -1 to hit is super good. And if you happen to be playing against a destruction army, you just win the game there, which is nice. Or rather, you don't win the game. They just don't get to play Battle Round 1, which is fine. You can wait. And then Battle Round 2, run and charge is okay, but do I really want to run and charge when next turn is the crit mortals? You can't wait until turn 3 to play. These are both fine. Swift Tide is probably the way to go. But then, so winner of Battle Round 1 is C. It means people can't fight you. And winner of 2 is still probably C again. But then the winner of the third one is definitely the crit mortal one, which is the Storm. So this gives players an interesting choice to make. Do you choose the best track, which is C and then C, but then your round 3 sucks? Or do you choose the bad one, which is a deep strike, which you already have access to, and -1 rend, which is okay. But then the turn 3 is the big one, right? Crit mortals, that's really good. So I guess you have a choice to make now, you know? It depends on how long the game is going to last. Anyway, Tory Kicker 7, there's the tier 1, 55. Must keep the streak alive. 54-month streak. Damn, thanks for liking my stuff for that long. I appreciate it. The article is already out of date, by the way. Is it? What's the difference standing still as fuck? The Idoneth Deepkin no longer have access to their ability to deploy in reserve. Oh, well, okay then. So you don't have this anymore. The thing I said, when I'm like, you already have ambushes, well, you don't. So that's your only way to get it. Again, I see. But the Soul Raid Ambusher's ability, Fade Like Mist, now enables 2 units to use Unpredictable Tide. You can still use the other C to reposition if you're in that particular one, and if you're playing that particular unit. The any hero phase ability for Unpredictable Tide was changed to your hero phase only. Okay. Article already out of date. Well, then it's not even close. But hey, all right. Interesting. What did they mean by this? How is Idoneth Deepkin looking? We can't really say. It's hard to say outside of the context of the whole thing. I'm just looking at the changes. Army's dead. Army's bad now. Army's OP. Hard to say. I'm sure we'll get the whole thing pretty soon. Probably. If it goes up for pre-order Saturday, it means that all the typical people who know things ahead of time have already had it for a while. So I imagine there'll be a big leak pretty soon, or there already was. Rob has a video with the full rules in the whole book. Okay. When somebody makes a PDF of it, I'll go ahead and look through it and do a stream on it. You think it's whatever? You think people are being kind of negative on the changes? I mean, that's probably reasonable, yeah. Anyway, am I excited about it? Kinda. I happen to own some Idoneth because I just thought they looked cool. And our team kept accidentally winning boxes of them. So I just have a random half an army maybe of Idoneth from boxes I won. Not painted, but I could paint them up. I've been waiting for Idoneth's rules to get fun. And so I've been waiting for 6 years, but we'll still see. Big Turtle's still big, that's good. I like the Big Turtle, he's funny. Anyway, let's chat about the implications. Plus I got story time from the 4th of July when I went outside. Right after a word from our sponsors.
Hello there. I'm Mr.
Cream.
AC Penny. When it fits, you feel it.
Once you pop, the cream don't stop.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face.
Deliciously hot, dangerously creamy.
The juice is loose.
She wanted to remember the love they shared for
Cream.
Sometimes you feel like a
Stuffed 5 ways.
So my family's looking for beef.
Now, that's what I call
Cream, yeah.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough,
And I am the cream.
Then why do we call it big? Because big things go into it.
at the Men's Warehouse.
You're gonna cream.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee it. Damn, son, where'd you find this? I gotta level up some bracers, dude. I gotta go to the plane of fire. Level up some braces. Damn, the PlayStation 1 really can produce mind-boggling visuals. You know? It's ridiculous what this thing can do. What's everybody's plans for their 4th of July? I already did mine by going outside. Yeah, peak gameplay. This is the real the real. They don't make games like this anymore, nor should they. Sandwich Ogre spotted. Must disclose flavor and makeup of sandwich. The poverty special of canned tuna mixed with salt, pepper, mayo, and a little bit of jalapeno between 2 pieces of almost expired bread, 1 slice of aged sharp ched. Would have more on the sandwich, but can't afford it. Delish. Kinda. Let's travel to the plane of Tranquility. You plan on continuing being Canadian, so it's Friday. Well, good for you. No, I'm pretty close to Canada, being Wisconsin. We share a border. And a lake or two with them. Big lakes. You know? Go to Canada every once in a while to go fishing. Big lakes, good fish. Good maple syrup. Yeah, Gabe Perez, to be honest, if everything's still fast and flies, then how bad can it really be? I would like to keep that question rhetorical, I suppose. Until otherwise. Let's quit the expedition. What are we at? Maybe 90-something%. Maybe 80-something. Respawning instance of my own, please. Ready. Big Naturals Lakes. Hell yeah. Prosecutors enter the chat. Yeah, you know, maybe the monkey paw curls on that one. We'll have to see. Anyway, so everybody knows, or maybe you don't, but Gramps, right? He's 95 this year, possibly 96. I have lost track, as has he. He was born in 20-something. So whatever that is. And he lives in this campground. And every year, they do a parade. And it's a campground. There's like a golf course connected to it, some lakes and stuff like that. And everybody there is like minimum 70, probably. But, you know, they got their kids who are now 60 and their kids who are now 30 or whatever, what have you, and all on down into the, like, infants and stuff. And there aren't too many people there. There's maybe like 100. And every year they have a 4th of July parade where they got their golf carts and they make them out into like kind of floats and they drive down the single road in this place. And they got like a little sound system and they got all the, oh, this guy served in the Korean War, this guy served in Vietnam and he holds the army flag or whatever it is, you know, it's like that. This is some absolute like mockumentary Americana pure, like real life sort of cringe, right? And to the certain type of person, this is like incredibly entertaining, second-hand entertainment kind of stuff, right? And to other people, it would be like unbearably cringe or whatever, right? But this is where he is, and he's the one who typically does like the sound and plays the little music. You know, he's got a keyboard and stuff. And so he just does that as part of this. But he's 95. And he can't see very good. Or really, he's basically blind. And he can't hear very good anymore. And so he's like, hey, well, I need you to help. Can you come down here? You're good with computers and stuff. Can you run the whole, like, can you run the whole parade sound-wise? Like, there's a laptop, there's a speaker system, there's wireless microphones, you know, that people, we got such and such person whose granddaughter is good at sing. She's gonna sing the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever, or not the Pledge of Allegiance. She's gonna sing the national anthem on like a battery microphone 12 feet away from the speaker. We're the camper society got together and bought like a bunch of hot dogs and beer, and it's all like $1. You know. And everybody sits next to the road. Can you run this? Here's the program. I'm like, okay, I gotta help him out. He can't see anymore, you know. I'll do this. And so they give me the program guide, which is printed off, and it's printed off with, I want to tell you the level of organization, okay? There's a piece of printer paper, and it's been printed off, and you know how you, like a photocopier, I don't know how old everybody is, you know what, the Xerox, like a photocopier? So there, it was a guide of like, okay, the following floats will be coming down, and this is the song that you play for all of those, and then somebody's gonna get on the mic and talk about Nam, when they were a POW for way longer than they should, to keep the parade kind of rolling. Like, they're going to talk for a long time. And then you play this song, right? And it was once printed out on printer paper from, like, Microsoft Word. And then somebody came in with a pen and changed the order of everything and circled something and crossed something out and wrote something in. And then that was photocopied. So I can, like, see the photocopied version of the thing that someone changed with a pen. And then it was printed out a second time with a different color pen and then photocopied. And I was given it. And then when I was given it, at that moment, we're too deep. The lady in charge of the camper association came in with a pen and changed it again while she was talking to me 5 minutes before the parade was to start. And by the way, during the parade, like, I'm playing, I had to, like, Google the what's it fucking called? CAP, the Civilian Air Patrol. I've never heard of that thing. Apparently, it's kind of like the Coast Guard or something. Oh, we have to do them too because one of the campers was part of it and they got a flag. So play the march. And I'm like, do you have the march? They're like, no. Okay, so I had to, like, Google, okay, what's the official march of the Civilian Air Patrol? Apparently they have one. I'm, like, Googling that while playing the Navy's march. And there's like the Air Force is after that, and then I got to do this one. And so I'm like, during the parade, they're changing the guide and changing the order of stuff. And hey, can you get this new song? It was great. And I was working off of Wi-Fi on somebody else's laptop that was connected to the Wi-Fi of the clubhouse in the middle of the forest, where this one road was. Anyway, it really took me back to being the DJ for a strip club. Same vibe. The theme of the parade was the 70s. Now, to you, dear viewer, the 70s were a long-ass time ago, right? You know, what happened in the 70s? Music-wise. Oh, geez, I don't know. The Beatles, probably. Some other shit. There were hippies, although that was more the 60s, I guess. Anyway, the theme of the parade is the 70s. And to you, that was a long time ago. And so it's like nostalgia stuff. But to Gramps, who is 95, the 70s was, quote, new bad music. Oh, this is when all those kids started listening to that crappy shit. What is that? Disco? Garbage, right? And that's just how people that old, the quote-unquote new thing, even if it's not new anymore, it's the new thing. That's how it is. And so he didn't know anything about that. He's like, I need you to just get a bunch of 70s music. Whatever the popular, recognizable stuff is. And I don't know any of it because that stuff is too new. I don't like that stuff. And I'm like, that stuff was 60 years ago. But hey, all right. Yeah, no, that's new. True. So anyway, I had to Google during the parade. I had to be like downloading on Wi-Fi, going to YouTube and just finding like 70s hits and be playing them. And the floats, which really weren't floats, they were golf carts. It was great. They're like, okay, and this is Diane and Chuck Moline Zinski, and their float is Jaws from the movie that came out in the 70s called Jaws. And so I like played the Jaws song, and then I kid you not, the very next, and this float is Therma and Gustav Macadamia, and their float is also Jaws. And then I just play the same Jaws theme again. And then there were 5 other floats in between. And then it's, all right, and this is Bill and Melinda Gupta, and their float, okay, yeah, it's Jaws again. I was inside of like a Wes Anderson movie. This float is called Flower Child, and they specifically requested Staying Alive. I would like to mention that Flower Children hippie stuff is very much not disco, but that's what they requested by gum, and so I pressed spacebar on the fucking laptop. And when the whole thing was over, well, I shouldn't say not so. We won't get to that. I still have to set you up for it. So, okay. All the floats are coming through and they say the person's name and then I play something. And they're like, if it doesn't have anything requested, then just play some 1970s song that everybody knows about. And so I'm like Googling the Beatles because I don't know 1970s pop or like famous. Like I grew up, all right, my dad was real into 60s and 70s music, but he liked all the like obscure deep cuts of people who like grew up in the 60s. And so like, yeah, I know the type of 60s and 70s music that I know is like Government Mule, One Live Badger, Jade Warrior, the Wishbone Ash, Uriah Heep, Captain Beyond, which was a super group between Iron Butterfly and Cream. You know, I know that type of 60s and 70s stuff. But I couldn't actually name a Beatles song if you put a gun to my head. Maybe Yellow Submarine, I think that's a Beatles song, or maybe that was a movie. And so I found myself in an interesting place. And so I'm just choosing, you know, I'm like, oh, here we go. I'll play this thing. The Beatles' most famous song, Google, YouTube, right? And then you get people on the mic. Actually, there's some old baseball player guy who, I don't think he ever made it to the major leagues. I think he was AAA, which is really good still. Like, you're crazy good at baseball if you were in AA or AAA. But I don't believe he ever quite made it to the major leagues. He's got some fucking pipes on him, and he's like 76. He sung the national anthem. Boy, he still had it. Hit those high notes and everything. Good on him. And then the nice lady who works at the store did a duet with her daughter of America the Beautiful or something like that. I don't know what the song was. And you get, like, yeah, rip some Frank Zappa, Ballad of Bobby Brown, you know, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, stuff like that. All that stuff, sure. But the popular stuff, I'm not sure. I suppose that's popular. Everybody knows Frank Zappa, although maybe they don't. And then during the, like, oh, we'll get some guy on the microphone, or some lady on the microphone about, oh, this is the guy carrying the army flag. And, man, the guy was walking with his flag down a road. And the road was, like, maybe a block and a half long. And he was walking slowly. And the 2,000-word essay in Avoiding the Puddle, like Eris chat, about this guy's military career was still talking about, like, the setup to the whole story by the time he was, like, done. He walked all the way there, and then, like, the Navy guy starts walking down with the flag, and they're still talking about, like, how the army guy grew up and his dad was in the army and his grandpa was in the army, fought for the South, of course, and the great-great-great-grandpa and stuff. and the Navy guy is already walking. And so I'm like, I guess I'll just change it to the Navy marching song now, you know, just hard cut. And they talked about the Army guy. The Navy guy was like done walking, and then they were done with the Army guy's entire D&D character backstory. And then they start talking about the Navy guy, and the Coast Guard guy is already half done. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. You couldn't pay to get this whole situation happening if you were a director and a scriptwriter, but it was just naturally occurring. Like finding a morel mushroom in a forest next to a toppled log. This shit was wild. And then finally at the end, they're like, all right, thanks for 50 years of parades at such and such campground. Thanks for being here. Hey, all right. And then they like point at me like I'm supposed to do the final song, you know, to send it off. And I'm like, I point right back. I got you, 88-year-old man. Boom. Spacebar on the laptop. Roxanne. Max volume. The perfect parade does not exist. And then, like, 35% into Roxanne, all right? Guy comes back up to me. He's like, actually, we have to announce the winners of the fishing contest. And so, hard pause right before he says Roxanne again. Guy turns the mic back on. He's too close to my speaker after I'm telling him, don't turn the mic on when you're close to the speaker. He just straight up, check this shit out. Flips the mic on right next to the speaker. Makes the fucking noise. He moves over. We're announcing, I forgot about this. We're announcing the winners of the fishing contest. Now, for the kids K through 12 fishing contest, the winner was 31 fish. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, 31 fish? And it's this little like 7-year-old girl, big smile, goofy like double braids that look like they have fucking clothesline. What are the clothes hangers in them, you know? They're just like straight out to either side. And I'm like, stop the count. This, was it parental interference on this one? Question mark. Anyway, either she is Sega Bass Fishing Champion 2022. Fish fear this woman. Or this little girl. And then, all right, and so for the this other fishing, and they listed everybody, and then the seniors, and their seniors were 60 to 70, and then 70 plus. I guess that's the cutoff. Don't ask me why. And I'm like, all right, and that's the winner of the fishing competition. Sorry about that last announcement, and thank you. And I'm like, all right, spacebar, Roxanne, immediate Roxanne, finish the rest of the song. This is America. And then right after that, Barracuda, Heart. After that, there was yet another announcement that interrupted that one. I can't remember what that final announcement was. And then It's Raining Men. After that, Neil Young, Heart of Gold. Time to go get a fucking hot dog. So I got a big ass hot dog. Relish all over that shit. Sprecher root beer. Delicious. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to get a second hot dog. This shit's good. So I put on fucking John Denver Country Road. Crowd favorite. I went to go get a hot dog. I came back. And this 80-year-old dude comes up with a fishing shirt. His shirt had a big fish on it. And it said like, Sedona, Arizona. And to me, that's crazy because are there any lakes in, I mean, it's a desert. Well, I guess Sedona is in the north, but it was weird to have a fishing shirt and then be from a place that's a desert. But hey, all right. And he's like, hey, I got to tell you, real Midwestern guy. Hey, I got to tell you, big John Denver fan. I hate this song. I hate Country Road. But thanks for playing John Denver anyway. I'm like, hey, all right. That's cool. Because I'm the exact opposite. I like country roads. I hate John Denver. Let's reach across the aisle. This is after the parade was delayed for 2 hours because it was pouring rain. Just pouring in sheets, curtains, if you will. And then it stopped raining and got sunny and instantly became unbelievably hot and humid as it would, right? After a rain. And so everyone was just like fucking sweating their shits out. But it was, man, it was America. And so can you. So anyway, that was my 4th of July going outside morning, as it were. And then I got back here and I'm like, fuck it, I'm streaming early. The people have to know before I forget the names and places of everything. I guess we're leveling up in EverQuest. I gotta level up this second bracer here. But dude, that hot dog was so fucking good. And Sprecher Root Beer is a great root beer brand. Wisconsin brand. I got 5 seconds left on invincibility. I wonder if I'll die. Or if I can fight all of these at the same time. Furious Discipline? Alright, we're doing it. We're living. As long as this discipline lasts, I think we're good. Alright, discipline done. I will be starting to lose life. So if a camper just focused on fishing, you can easily win. I mean, it must be the case. Or the girl was that good. Lake Havasu has a lake. And a hop, skip, and a jump from Cali. Okay. Yeah, I knew that because I used to live in Arizona. I knew that Sedona looks like it's not a desert. It's got trees and sometimes even grass and stuff. Kind of a beautiful area, actually. It's the part of Arizona that actually looks nice. Forgot I should be looting these things because this place is also good money. You were the kid. Usually the fishing contest might not just be during the day, but the weekend. Okay. Well, that might have been the case. Please tell me the prize for the fishing contest was either a huge, way too big trophy or like $15 Chili's gift card. You hope there was zero in between. The prize for fishing was the jar that they put in the clubhouse that people put their change in for a calendar year. And so you get like 700,000 nickels for winning. I mean, they split it up between the categories and stuff, but that's what you win. You can put it in the back of your golf cart in like a water cooler jug, and the golf cart like shock absorbers like visibly strain under the weight of it. She stole all the poor workers' tips. Dang. No. The tips are different. This is just like the take a penny, leave a penny jar, except it says fish contest written on it in Sharpie. And it's just this big, massive tub that's there all year. Fish contest. Not fishing contest. fish contest. And I don't know how much actual money it was. They just gave him a tub of it. They didn't. They're not going to count it, I guess. So yeah, hey, all right. I got to be a DJ again. It reminds me of college. Albeit slightly different clientele. Been the same mason jar and masking tape since 1982. You know, behind the desk in the clubhouse, underneath in the glass case, there's like, the place is run by grandmas. And so there's just like 5 or 6 of those like flavorless butter cookie metal tins. And you open those up, and then inside of it is just like office supplies and sewing needles. That's what they keep everything in. That's their containers in that place. That's just what a container is. And some of them are old enough they have a little bit of rust on them. Right next to the Muhammad Ali rat poison brand. Or poisonless humane rat traps or whatever. Next to a Skippy, like a Skippy chunky peanut butter that says mouse traps, do not eat written on the outside, and a piece of Scotch tape. And it's like in the fridge right next to the normal peanut butter. Place is classic. It's classic. Your LGS has a bar that serves Sprecher. Enjoy picking up a good root beer or cream soda from there from time to time while you play. Yeah, that's a good brand. I'm not just saying it because it's from Wisconsin. Or I don't know, maybe I am. Go ahead and try it yourselves and you decide. It's very sweet. As far as root beers go, it might even be too sweet for you if you don't like things that are too sweet. Because it's root beer made with like Wisconsin honey inside of it. So it's like it's pretty sweet. Perhaps even too sweet, depending. What the fuck is a cream soda? The Crystal Pepsi of root beer. It's like a, what's it? I want to say that it's a little bit of, it's a clear soda, although not truly clear. I guess I would call it like a butterscotch, toffee, maybe very slightly cotton candy, sugary sort of soda. That's the cream, I guess, is the flavor somewhere kind of like the flavor of it. I don't know what the official flavors are, and they depend, but it's cream. After having recently helped your mother clean out her house and kitchen, you're certain the expiration dates stop mattering at a certain age. They just don't matter. I mean, they got powdered coffee creamer for the coffee they leave out in the clubhouse, and it's probably older than I am. At a certain point, it just doesn't matter anymore. I mean, if Steve 1984 or whatever can eat it, then maybe it's fine, although those are at least vacuum sealed. Consume XP. 31%. Hey, we're pretty good. 31%, not bad. Wait for the cooldowns, wait for the repops. Already got one of them done. Up to Legendary. Which one shall I replace? Probably Prismatic Forces. Take that out. Take that out. Oh no, wait, that's a Rang. Put those back in. Sorry I messed with your stuff. That's Bracer of Precision, or Icy Vengeance. I probably don't even need to take anything out of this one. And the Good Bracer, that's like 7,000 times better. Get your armor fragment back, and you get your cheap shit of sharpshooting instead of cleaving because I'm poor. Alright, 1 down, 1 to go at 31%. Multiple food stuff, like condiments. You got the answer, hasn't killed me yet from like, yeah. Yeah, that is the type of answer you get from people. Oh, beef stew finish, nice. I'm just over here waiting on repops. Lots of tater and carrot. You know, I like fireworks, but I'm done going outside today. No. I had enough outside going for a long time. I'll tell you what. I imagined that it was possible this stream wouldn't be too viewersome because maybe people are going out and doing stuff, but then I remembered that my audience, you know, you kind of attract an audience at times that are somewhat like you in certain ways. It's not 100%, but, you know, in certain ways, the audience tends to reflect the streamer a little bit. And so it wouldn't be surprising if a lot of you weren't going somewhere. Yeah, Taxi 2, he's playing RuneScape. I mean, RuneScape is basically EverQuest, right? So, hey, all right. Outside, it's hot. Inside, it's the temperature I decide. True. Gamers gaming. Hell yeah. You got to talk to Artorias. He's big in OSRS, which the first time I saw it, I'm like, Osiris? Is that a skateboarding shoe? But it was just a shorthand for some kind of RuneScape, and then it made more sense. I don't think these guys are the ones that have like super good XP, but I might as well kill them while I'm waiting for repops elsewise, right? Grilled some steaks, working on getting the kids asleep. Perfect HeyWoah listening time. You missed story time, sorry. I can't go over it again. And I don't even know if it was entertaining or not. I think it was. It was entertaining while it was happening to me. Speaking of happening to me, I got teleported, and now I don't know where I am. Oh, back here, yeah. Yo, can you guys chill? I'm trying to collect more. I still have 1 AoE cooldown. This is not a good AoE character. It's made for boss fighting in 1v1. So I can only ever do something when I have my 3 different AoE cooldowns up. Active Valor, Blade Guardian. Destructive. Which one's the AoE character? Rifts. Rifts Megaproc is the AoE character. But I need to level up these bracers, and they attune to you if you put them in the level up slot. So it has to be this guy, because you have to level up your own equipment. Because leveling up your character, and then leveling up your skills, and then leveling up your crafting, that's not enough. You have to level up your equipment as well, because we are grinding forever. If you want to grind, it's time to grind. I really like this server because they're like, hey, you get to grind your equipment too. I'm like, oh hell yeah, let's go. I want everything to be legendaries. What a great feature. And you get 3 classes instead of 1. I want to grind 3 classes. The absolute power. Welcome Mario J. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Talking about 4th of July DJ for campground 4th of July parade at the last minute. Which was a trip. Your 499s are strength, mage, HP, and now crafting. EverQuest crafting is so terrible. Like, it's so terrible. Famously bad. Or rather, I guess, infamously bad. But they always put, like, the craziest rewards at the end, so you have to do it. I haven't done crafting yet, as you can see, because my two earrings are not signets of might. But that's the next thing I'm gonna have to do after this, probably. Alright, rebuff. Favor. Go. Hey, alright. Get my mana back. Wait another few minutes. I bet I could probably do it with Mighty Strike Discipline. Even though I don't have any AoE ones left, I could probably do a pull with Mighty Strike. Just because I'd one-shot almost every creature. But it can't be a huge pull. It has to be a half pull. Hey, remind me I have to do a half pull instead of a full pull. Because all three of my AoE disciplines are down. And of course, the cooldown on them is like a half an hour each because it's EverQuest. Thank you for the half pull. Yeah, we'll do some Orc Massage. Just a half pull, thanks. Hey, well, the crafting skill cap you get for maxing the skill in RuneScape is of the fastest teleports to a bank in the game. Oh, fastest teleport back to town. The gameplay loop, the efficiency, the value. Oh, I've become better at meditate. Because meditating to get your mana back is a skill. 51 out of 325. We're working on it. CJ, this is a problem. I'm liking the Clive deck. Shit's kind of fun to play. That's dangerous. I already have 4 commander decks. I can't buy a 5th one unless it can fit in the box. Crazy. Yeah. Might have to do a field test. Then again, it's the kind of deck that would probably be stupid in real life. Because you just sit there playing giant artifacts for mana. And then try to win on one turn. And that might not be conducive to, like, fun games of Magic in person, really. So that might be the concern there. And all it takes is one person randomly casting a Bane of Progress. And what did you do? Okay, well, I played 4 mountains in 4 turns doing nothing else. And then tapped 4 and played like a Thran Dynamo. And then next turn I played like a whatever, some artifact for 5 that taps for 4 of something, right? And then someone destroys all artifacts. I just sit there. And then I play a tapped Worn Power Stone. And then I die. Like, that's... Like, a lot of games like that could be happening. This is a half pull. It's actually less than a half pull. I think we could do more. We can do more. Less than a half pull. I'll get this group over here. Yeah, it is immune to Blood Moon, but I can't play Blood Moon because it's bracket 3. And Blood Moon counts as mass land or mana denial. And so you can't, like, playing red is banned, kind of. Or playing, like, good red, proper red is sort of banned. In bracket 3, anyway. I'm dying pretty fast. Hand of Piety. Okay, it was good that I didn't pull anymore. Blade Guardian helped out. And I had to use Monkmend in hand, but we're good. I still have Lay on Hands. We're solid. A game changer over here? No, it's not even a game changer. It's just illegal in bracket 3. Can't play Blood Moon. It supersedes what it means to be a game changer, and it's just illegal. It's like Knuckles the Enchilada does the meme where he stamps it. That is illegal. Otherwise, Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon would both be in there. Obviously, because it's a red deck. You have to play them. Who cares about bracket 3? Well, that's the point, is that if this would be a deck in real life, then it would have to be built towards a bracket, you know. If it's online for TTS amongst adults who aren't bitch babies, then, like, who cares? But that's, you know, the whole point of the bracket system is to play with randos. And then what you do in your pod, or your group of people who play, like, do whatever you guys want. That's the whole point. I guess you play with randos. June's over. Yeah, we're in July. No gods, no kings, only fun. Like, I am the most susceptible to getting Blood Mooned the fuck out. And I'm fine with playing against Blood Moon. Because I made my choice. I did this, you know? Turn 4, I have 4 non-basic lands out. Maybe 5. Turn 6, I have 6, maybe 7 non-basic lands out. Yeah, I had a 2-color deck. It had 2 basic lands in it total. You know? Like, this is my choice. And so when someone puts a Blood Moon on the table, I'm like, yeah, I knew someday this would happen. This is what I get. And then I get to try to find funny ways to get around it. Like stealing CJ's creature that creates treasure tokens so that I could get access to my other 2 colors. Like, it's funny to try to dig yourself out of the hole, you know? You know, I knew what I signed up for. The type of deck you build is both what you like to play and what you don't mind losing to, right? So, like, if you are playing a graveyard deck that's 100% reliant on the graveyard, it means that you are emotionally okay with absolutely getting blown out by Farewell and Rest in Peace. Because if you hated Farewell and Rest in Peace so much that it ruins it for you, you wouldn't play a graveyard deck. Because that's the way you're going to lose a lot of times. If you simply never want to lose to Rest in Peace or Farewell or something, well, then you should be playing a deck that doesn't care if your opponent plays a Rest in Peace, you know? That's the way I look at it anyway. I mean, it's both of the things. It's the 2 things together. What do you like to do, and what don't you mind losing to that badly? Like, it's those 2 things put together, in my opinion. Otherwise, you're going to get spiteful. Wick Skaven Nuke Bomb is the reason he got into Magic the Gathering. Dude, Wick is funny. I like the funny rat man. He... Normally, I I'm like, I don't care about rats. I think tribal decks are stupid. But Wick comes with his own pet snail. He's got a little snaily friend. And that thing gets big and sometimes it blows up and it draws you a bunch of cards. And you're a rat that's in 3 good colors. Alright, they did it. Wick, good shit. I like that guy. And you can build him in all sorts of different ways. He doesn't, like, force you to build him in a certain way. You can get kind of creative with how you do it, which is what I like. I appreciate commanders that give you a little freedom to choose in what way that you build them. You know, instead of, like, this is Elf Lord. He is Elf Lord parenthetical 2 color. No, the way that you play him is you play all the elf. Every single elf that has ever been printed that is even remotely good, you put it in the deck. And how do you play? Well, you play every elf in your hand, and then you draw into more elves and you play those elves. And then every elf has 2 paragraphs of text on it that says, for each elf you have, tap 5 elves. For each elf, your elves get +elf, and everyone dies. And I'm like, hey, that's cool, but to me personally, I appreciate commanders more that are like, hey, draw a bunch of cards. Here's a neat mechanic you can build around if you feel like it, but you can go in a bunch of different ways. You can do it this way, you can play with this. You can have an enchantment sub-theme if you care about it. Here's a creature type that might matter if you want. Here, kid, go nuts. Like, do whatever. I prefer those type of commanders. But that, you know, it's personal preference at the end of the day. $36. Consume. 55%. Okay, that was another 20%. I got Whirlwind Discipline back up, so I can do a big pull next time. Get some juice back. You love cheating big shit in the play, so you play Kalia? I mean, that's what she does. She cheats the biggest stuff in the play. Well, maybe not the biggest. Naturally big, we'll say. You skip your draw step, but every time you play a card, you draw a card. Your max hand size is 2 as well, right? Is that the card? I can't remember the name of it. It's like your max hand size is 2. Skip your draw step whenever you play a card, draw a card, or something like that. Actually, I suppose there were a few enchantments to do something similar to that in black and maybe green. There might be a creature version that you're talking about. I'm not familiar with the creature version, though. Doesn't it sound like the most is-it mechanic ever, but it happens to be in different colors because maybe it was printed a while ago? Like, play a card, draw a card, your max hand size is small. Very much sounds like a red-blue kind of thing. Although it's not. Although I'm sure there's plenty of blue cards that do similar, or blue commanders that do similar. I had a Kalia deck as well, but like a very long time ago. Like when Kalia came out, I made a Kalia commander deck. But so did everyone, kinda. And back then you could put Iona onto the battlefield with Kalia, which was a problem for many people. But then they rightfully banned Iona, and it kind of sorted itself out. Man, it was so great when they banned Iona. Because every person's commander deck in the world got to take out like 4 of the worst 7 mana colorless exile target creature effects ever. Because if you didn't play with those, you would just straight lose to somebody's Iona every fucking game. Every white deck just had Iona in it. You always got cheated into play somehow. And if you didn't have, like... Back then, the answers were so bad. It was like... Just straight up Karn. That 7 mana colorless exile effect thing. Oblivion Stone. Like, you just had to play with this garbage so that you didn't hyper lose to Iona when she came out. It was kind of like when they changed the Commander Tuck rule. And you got to get rid of, like, Spin into Myth. And, the 3 mana counter spell that puts it on the bottom of your library. You could finally drop all those awful put stuff on the bottom of people's library cards. Because you couldn't do that to people's commander anymore, and it freed up deck building slots to play fun cards instead. Although I guess that was a little different. That being said, I think it's fair. Because there's like one card on the ban list for each income bracket. So there's a card that's banned so that you aren't punished even more for not being able to afford expensive mana bases in 3-color decks, right? Like if you're trying to play on a budget, and so you're playing a monocolor deck, we banned Iona so that you don't lose the game automatically just because you're playing a monocolor deck. And that's fair. And then conversely, we banned Sundering Titan so that you don't automatically lose the game for being rich and having 7 real dual lands and 2 triomes on the battlefield. And then someone sneak attacks a Sundering Titan and instantly sacrifices it, and you don't have all 8 of your lands destroyed at instant speed as a triggered ability. And so we protect the poors with Iona, and we protect the rich with Sundering Titan, and then everybody's happy. No big deal. Blood Moon punishes the rich. It does, but the rich gets to keep playing. It's not a one-sided Armageddon and you're just done. So at least there's that. Like, I'm not rich, but I have rich cards because I bought them 28 years ago. And so Blood Moon punishes me plenty. But I don't know, I feel like it's fair. If I didn't want to lose to Blood Moon so bad, I would put more basics in. But I don't want to. And so, hey, I made my bed. Sometimes I gotta sleep in it. That's the way I think about it. And sometimes I'm playing Cass. And ZJ plays some absolute Phyrexia all will be one beast uncommon draft chaff all-star. Mana creature. Hey, every single turn I'm going to exile a card from your graveyard. Oh, well my commander flashes back 1 card a turn. Hey, alright. Eat shit. That being said, that deck ended up being so annoying that it was worth it to eat shit. Oh, Darkness. Oh, Snapcaster Mage flashing back Darkness. Deck deserved to die. I just hate how the meta of a lot of games is basically turned into petition to the devs to change something or nerf a strategy. Looks at fighting games. Yeah, it's weird. I think devs should generally be a little less amenable to player advice. But I guess that's kind of something you have to earn. Although it's probably the better place to be. I think it's ideal if the devs are simply floating above, like on Mount Olympus, and the worshippers can't really talk to them directly. And if they can, then suggestions and advice are just like generally ignored, and they simply do the right thing. And the people will respect it if the game is crazy good. Like, if the game is really good, then that's fine. But you can't do the distant game developer person thing if the game sucks. Because you only earn a little bit of hubris, and that's okay if you're good. And if you're not good, then hubris and distance is annoying. You know, it's not new and was probably already discussed, but any strong thoughts on ship commanders? So it's still pretty early. We're just barely getting some previews now, but I've seen space stations and ships, and the ability that they have seems to be terrible. Now, I might be missing something, like maybe there's new cards that turn it on or make it better or whatever, but spaceship mechanics are ahem. Tap an untapped creature you control as a sorcery to put charge counters on the space station. And then once it has 12, and 12 is a lot of power worth of charge count, you could have attacked for 12. That's a lot of damage. Instead, you did nothing as a sorcery on your turn, tapping creatures that could have blocked something in combat. Instead, you're just tapping them, and people are attacking you to level up this spaceship, and then finally when it gets 12 up, the spaceship, I think, counts as a creature at that point and gives you an effect that doesn't read that strong. It's a really slow, clunky, gets rid of your own attackers, have to do it on your turn thing, building up over time, to turn into a payoff that really isn't that good. I'm very critical of it. It seems bad. Like the whole mechanic of spaceships, they seem awful. Now I get that. I understand that. You can tap an untapped creature, so it could be one with summoning sickness. That's cool, but I don't know. Like, the creature could have blocked. It seems like a big, long, slow cost for such a relatively kind of minor payoff, or like not great. Yeah, you can proliferate and do charge counters and stuff. Proliferate's already good for a lot of other stuff that is also way better than the spaceships are. Like, you can pay 2 mana to draw a card and give every opponent a poison counter. And then you can proliferate 9 times and win the game with Radstorm or something. Or you can get a spaceship and proliferate 11 times and have like an okay creature, I guess. Like, what is this? Juice doesn't seem to be worth the squeeze. Now, I haven't seen all of them yet and all this other stuff, and who knows, right? But initial take isn't, oh no. I forgot I have to stop mashing number 1 when I do Leyline. Oh well. Time to get all that XP back. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, ships suck. They seem to suck. I don't know if vehicles needed a second pass. Seems kind of janky, I guess. Long story short. It's like, hey, do you like vehicles? No. Vehicles is kind of shitty as a mechanic. I think it's just, generally speaking, kind of a bad mechanic. Having to crew something, it's a creature, it's not a creature. Tapping a different creature so you can attack with this one. I just don't think vehicles are a very good mechanic, really. And then they did a second try at the vehicle mechanic, which was saddle. And saddle also kind of sucks. And this will be the third time they're trying to do the vehicle tap a creature to make a creature thing. And I don't think I like any of them. I think they're all kind of fiddly and weird. But keep in mind, I hate everything, so, you know, there's that too. I'm not, like, super down on them. I'm just like, these are big free shrugs, I guess. I suppose there will probably end up being conceivably like a really good spaceship. And maybe at the end of the day, spaceships end up going into decks that just have a lot of proliferate anyway. And the ship will accidentally just proliferate up while you're doing all the other proliferate stuff that's better. And for free, you just randomly get something. Like, maybe that's where it ends up. Or there'll be a spaceship that's actually good before you level it up. And people will play that thing just because it happens to be good. Like, they showed off the white space station that tutors for a legend and puts it in your hand. Like, that's a good effect. And at 3, it's kind of like on brand. You know, tutoring your deck for a legendary permanent put in your hand, that costs 3 anyway. What's that white card that does that, right? So, like, maybe they'll play that ship just because that happens to be good already. But, I don't know, in a 4-player Commander game, playing it quote-unquote how they intend you to play it, which is, ooh, I got this 5/5 creature, but he can't attack yet because he has summoning sickness, I might as well tap him and put 5 counters on my spaceship. It's like, well, you probably wanted the block with that 5/5, right? I mean, there's 4 people at the table. Now, if you could, like, tap it at the end of turn or something, then that would be good, but now you can only do it as a sorcery. Can't have people playing on each other's turns. Market research has determined that casual players hate it when anyone responds to them for any reason. I mean, they call in the cowboy hat set, they called interaction a crime. And I think that was kind of like a Freudian slip. Like, that's really, I think, how a lot of players view it. Oh, you blew up my soul ring. That's actually a crime. I think that's unironically how a lot of people think about it. I think interaction is good. It's what makes Magic good. Playing on someone else's turn is fun. Having a in response is cool. The potential that the opponent could have a response. Like, they've been removing a lot of combat tricks even from white. Like, a bunch of the stuff where it's like, you know, attacking creatures, get this and this, untap them and stuff. They've even reduced the amount of that stuff that happens. Like, they really don't want surprise, actually you are the one who loses kind of stuff happening, it seems. They're lessening the amount of that kind of stuff in the game, it seems. I think that's, in general, not great. That stuff's cool and good, but now it's We're into opinions, I guess. Yeah, now. Suddenly we're into opinions. All that other stuff wasn't. But unironically, just as Richard Garfield intended. The other day I was playing Commander, and someone tried to... I can't remember what they tried to do. I tried to play some card that was really good. And then they're like, I'm going to Fierce Guardianship, counterspell that card you're playing that would be really good. And then I cast Red Elemental Blast. And then they cast an offer you can't refuse. And my thing didn't work. I think that's good. That whole thing, that was cool. I ended up losing that stack war, right? But that was like, that was Magic the Gathering happening right there. Now, you don't want everything to only ever be Stack Wars, because then you're playing CDH and you're not having fun. And everybody's deck is 22 lands somehow, and 47 cards for one that counter spells and stuff, and that's, you know, kind of lost the plot at that point. But, I think you should be able to stop your opponent from doing something if you can help it, generally almost always, or at least have the option for it. And every new commander they come out, every new Voja they print, and every new Jetmir they print, seems like they want you to have a response, otherwise you simply lose, right? Like, oh, Voja? Cool, okay, so if I can't counter that or get rid of it before you untap, the whole table will die. So I guess I'm going to need some answer to that thing. Or to be faster than it. And going down the road of always just trying to be faster instead of having interaction, that road also leads to kind of CEDH, where everyone's just trying to turbo as fast as they possibly can and have as little of a game as possible, right? I'm gonna, at the end of turn, I'm gonna kill your commander. Actually, it is your commander who is the one who will be dying. Like, oh, fucking deflecting SWAT, it got me. You're waiting for spells that don't deal life damage but do deal commander damage. I think if they're trying to help Red out systematically, just structurally in Commander, I feel like we might end up getting stuff like that. You know, imagine a 1-red sorcery. Deal 3 commander damage to each opponent. Because that's on curve now, because you only have 21 commander damage, right? Or maybe you could word it in such a way where it's like your commander deals 3 damage to each opponent or something like that, but you still have to say, I think you still have to print commander damage on there. So like that's a possible avenue, something like that. Because if you're just going on rate, you would have to print cards like, I think they just made a Lava Spike that does 3 to each opponent. But that's not even on rate because everyone's at 40 life. It would have to be 1 red, 6 damage to each opponent. And then it's just Lava Spike. Just percentile increased. And you can't print 1 red, deal 6 damage to each opponent because that would ruin constructed formats completely. And so maybe commander damage is the way that they would have to go. Yeah, maybe your commander has to be in play for it or something like that. Like one red instant. If you control a commander when you cast this spell, deal 6 damage to each opponent. Like, you could write it that way. Or you could say deal 3 commander damage to each opponent, or whatever would have you. You could do something like that. It would still make the cards, like, unplayable in normal formats, but that's fine. I mean, Command Tower doesn't do anything in other formats. Bags are almost full. Planar portal. Brother Elephant Shoosh. What is it about ogre players? Their names are always great. You just built RC, the Transformer, as a commander deck, and you're enjoying it a lot. Because it's fun to try and get as many counters on her and either shoot someone's creature or swing for a ton of commander damage. The counter stuff, yeah. I don't think I'm familiar with any of the Transformer cards. I just happen not to know them. That goes there. Ogre player names are always great because GW refuses to give you a good named hero, yeah. Slicer's the big one. He likes Alexios and Karn. So when we're getting Voltron centered around commander damage, there's an unofficial Voltron from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It's fucking terrible. And there was the original Voltron, which was the Sword, Shield, and Helm of Cauldra from Mirrodin. It, too, is fucking terrible. And then there's meld cards that they later came out with to again try the Voltron thing. You know, the card meld stuff where you have both of them and then you can do something and you flip both of them over and they become like a big card. They connect. And that mechanic's terrible too. Stop trying it. Or maybe keep trying it and maybe it'll be cool one day. Two GG for a 2/4. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. You may play lands from your graveyard, landfall, whenever a land you control enters mill a card. Oh. Ooh. Hold on. Real shit? Is that a normal creature or is it a legend? Yo, that thing's hot. Normal creature. It costs 4, so you can cast it from the top with Glarb. Yo, that thing's kind of nice. It's 2-in-1, baby. You can condense deck building a little bit. Instead of going like, oh, I need my Crucible Worlds and I need my Ramunap Excavator. Now this creature does both? Okay, that thing's kind of nice, though. That thing's kind of nice, though. Yo, does that mean that I get to take out 2 cards from Glarb, put in 1 card that does the work of both of those cards, and now I get to add another card? I freed up a slot? Very interesting. That's kind of nice. Very hinterlanding. Alright, this time maybe don't die. 12 seconds of invulnerability remaining. 6 seconds of invulnerability remaining. 3, 2, 1. The fucking horn's going off. Alright, Furious Discipline's over. Let's add procs. Alright, I think I'm gonna live. We're gonna live this time. Big. Furious Discipline is probably the best one. Insect Scout Creature. The blue enchantment thing is so sick where you copy the enchanted thing when you make any tokens, yeah. I saw that one, the Nutty Professor. It doesn't cost 3. Like 3 is the same as copy enchantment, the card. Like that's on rate. You like swing with Reaver Cleaver and make 8 copies of whatever, Terror of the Peaks or something like that. That is a concern turn. The card that I really liked was, of course, it's the most me card. It was the instant for 2. Instant for 2 with kicker 2. So it either costs 2 or 4. Instant. Instanto. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of lands you control. Put 1 in your hand. If you kicked it, put 2 in your hand. So this shit is a... not Treasure Cruise. What was the other one? The one for double blue. Dig Through Time. It's like Dig Through Time or better. At instant speed for 2 or 4. Like quote-unquote fair dig through time, but you don't have to delve. And so for people absolutely obsessed with recurring stuff from the graveyard, you don't have to exile any of that stuff. That card is nice. I really like that card. That one's looking good. It's very close to Beseech the Bog, or whatever it's called. The shitty demonic tutor for Golgari. Like green-black, it just costs 2. And you can plot it for 3. And you look at the top, double the number of lands and put 1 in your hand, but it's only ever 1. And then the blue version is 1 or 2 cards. It's not double the number of land, but that's like kind of okay. Anyway, the card's sick. I was allowed to play with Dig Through Time for several weeks in Legacy, and damn, that was a great time. You had red-blue decks running around, treasure cruising. The combo and control decks got to play with Dig Through Time. What a great time to be alive. Miracle's deck kinda sucked because everyone had so much fucking gas they never ran out and could actually beat them. It was actually kind of a cool time in Legacy. Among many cool times in Legacy. Now, it was probably proper to get rid of them, because that was sort of the nail in the coffin of, if you aren't playing blue, then you're retarded. Or you're playing, like, I don't know, some sort of all-in combo deck or something like that. But it really just pushed every non-blue out. Like, mono-red burn had to completely splash blue and just become a blue-red deck. Because if you're playing burn and you weren't running Treasure Cruise or something, you liked losing, I guess, or I don't know. Even though it was a pretty good time for Price of Progress, but it was always a battle trying to get people in subtle ways, trying to get not everyone to be playing blue in some way in Legacy. Death and Taxes secretly being the best deck for a very long time. It was just a miserable fun police kind of play style that was just top decking every turn, and so not nearly as many people played it as should have been playing it. Which was good, because not only was it miserable to play, it was miserable to play against. I watched that happen live, Taxi 2 stock. I mean, not the exact situation you're talking about, with the person unable to control their anger that should have been kicked out of the venue and banned for life. If you're going to throw a chair because of a game, banned for life. Get your life in order. But I saw right after Notion Thief got printed, I was watching whatever the most recent Legacy Star City Games coverage was. Guy had a Jace the Mind Sculptor out. Board was empty. Nobody had anything except this guy had a Jace with 3 counters on it, freshly cast. He brainstorms with Jace. His opponent flashes in Notion Thief. So the guy doesn't draw any cards. Then has to put 2 back on top. Pass the turn, and the Notion Thief immediately swings for 3 and kills Jace. The most brutal... The guy just, like, picked... immediately scooped. It was the most brutal... You thought you were winning the game, and it is the nails in the coffin. You can hear the Undertaker music in the background. It is all over. So sick. It was so sick. The commentators were just like, this guy, we need to call his family. He might not be okay. It's weird, though. Notion Thief didn't make much of a splash after that, though. I guess it just costs 4. Costing 4 is a lot in Legacy. And it was too hard. And then way later, they printed a card called Orcish Bowmasters. Now costing 2. That's right up Legacy's alley. And it basically took over Legacy completely. Hey, you want to cast Brainstorm? Eat shit, hombre. Your Delver, dead. Your Delver, dead. Your Grim Lavamancer, dead. Mother of Runes, dead. Anyway, I got a 4/4. Game's over. Oh, Orcish Bowmasters, killing your Orcish Bowmasters? Okay. After that resolves, I flash in my own, kill the one that killed yours. There it is. Your Earth Embracer of Fortitude absorbs energy radiating with overwhelming power. It has been upgraded to Legendary. Let's fucking go. The absolute power of Shielding 2. We are slowly becoming real tanks. Huge. Hey, all right. You still see it a bit in Demir Rogues. Played a lot of modern. Something of a burn ape. Simian Spirit Guide is your spirit animal. Ah, yes. Time shift or color shifted Elvish Spirit Guide. I like me some Simian Spirit Guides. Me and Simeon, Captain Simeon, we go way back. That guy's been good for me. Not Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys. No, it's a Simeon Spirit Guide. Simeon Spirit Guide. Oh, that's the one there. Put that there. Hey, all right. Bracers of Dankness. Hey, that's pretty good. I just put a Simian Spirit Guide into Clive. I just put a Simian Spirit Guide into Clive. And I remembered that there was another janky-ass, kind of technically like a Worn Power Stone thing that I could put in there. From Future Sight. That 3-mana artifact that you can tap to put a charge counter on it. So every other turn, you can make 2 mana with it. And it's just jank enough that I put it in. They need to... I think they need to print like 2 or 3 more. Yeah, Coalition Relic, that's the one. If you're playing Worn Power Stone already, you should probably play Coalition Relic, you know. And under normal circumstances, I would never recommend playing a Mono Rock for any more than 2 for basically any reason, but in Mono Red, if you're trying to relive Big Red and just doing stupid crap, your arms are so tied behind your back that you just have to play like all-in super risky bad cards like that. But if nobody fucks with your shit, take a turn off or something, that's what you're going for. You gotta bet big to win big. Mono Red, it requires a different state of mind. That's all there is to it. Alright, so I don't need this expedition. Let's go to the plane of Team A. THJ server, the Hero's Journey that I'm playing this on, they just came to an agreement with the judge because they're getting sued by Daybreak Entertainment, the people who are caretakers of real EverQuest. And they're getting sued. I don't know the exact reason, but basically the reason is the server is better maintained and more fun than real EverQuest. And that's probably not okay. So, they're getting the boot. But they were granted leniency. So they can still, like, they don't have to take the server down. It's not a cease and desist. They don't have to take the server down or anything during the lawsuit. So I get to keep playing it until they eventually probably lose their lawsuit because it's just like so obviously copyright infringement. Like it's, I don't know how they win. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about the law. But I don't think you can just, I don't think you could just change a game and do anything you want with it and have people play it. Like that's just not okay. The reason that most private servers were out of Russia for WoW over the years is because Russia doesn't give a fuck about anyone's laws. And especially like, you know, human rights and anything like that. So they don't care about some video game. And so American companies would send, you know, some like Russian guy living above a borscht shop. And they're like, hey, stop making a WoW server. And he's like, fucking suka bliat. American law, LOL. But THJ is based in America. That's a problem. Because we care about laws. Well, actually, we don't. But some of them we do, and this one we actually do. Was that both? Huh. It felt like only one wave. Oh, hey, alright. Being a paladin is hilarious because the undead waves instantly die. Like your strike undead skills are insane, insano damn. Why are some of these letters not backwards? Yeah. What if they made him shut it down and hire them? I find that to be an unrealistic solution, because then Daybreak would have to pay money to hire people. And they clearly don't have enough money for that. Or willingness to do that. Literally 8 people, I think, maintain the entirety of EverQuest. If they were interested in hiring people, they would have done it already. The most likely outcome, in my opinion, is... Well, okay, what they'll probably try to do, and this is a big can of worms that might be really problematic for Daybreak. So, copyright law is pretty strong. But one thing you have to do is protect your copyrights. And if you don't adequately protect your copyrights, then I think you can argue that it's okay for people to do stuff with them for some reason. I'm not very lawyerly with this one, but it's like, I think if you just don't give a shit what anyone does about your copyrights for a long time, and then suddenly you start caring about them, those people can argue, well, you know, you never really protected your copyrights before, so now it's basically in public domain in various ways. I don't know if that can work or not, and I'm probably not describing it very well. But there is something like that. And with the entirety of the EQMU community for like 19 years or more, and like Project 1999 and all this other stuff, it might be reasonable to argue that they haven't done shit to really protect their IP at all this entire time. And they've even mostly given it their blessing. So, like, who knows? Oh, maybe that's trademarks Auspicious Autist. Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like I have to say I don't know much about the law every sentence I'm talking about here, right? Although that's true. To be fair, P99 had the official blessing of the creator. Yeah, and in this case, that does mean something. Because everything about EverQuest has to do with nostalgia. And everybody who even works there is very nostalgic about it. normally companies could give a fuck less, right? But in this case, they actually do. It's trademarks you can lose. Okay, so it's not copyright. Then all right. I must have been thinking about trademarks. Oh, the undead one. Let's go. I wish there were more undead waves. Just two-shot. So yeah, I feel like there's only two ways it can go. One is THJ completely loses because it really is copyright infringement humongously. And they just have to stop. Which has knock-on effects for all of EQMU, which might ruin everything. Or Daybreak is so poor and weak that they end up settling. They present their case and be like, look, this is obviously copyright, whatever. You guys are going to lose. But turns out you're making a shitload of money out of donations, and we're so poor as caretakers of EverQuest officially that you need to cut us into that, and then, hey, all right. And that probably sounds a little... Maybe that sounds unrealistic. But I think it's actually a potential outcome. I think it's a settle out of court for a cut. Because as much as Daybreak doesn't like to admit it, EQMU is very good for them. You have this entire nostalgia machine churning in the background, doing a lot of marketing for you. And the weight of it being the quote-unquote real game is something, and it might actually be a pipeline to you. Now, it also works in the other direction. So, there is that. Yeah, look at WoW Classic, for instance. Yeah, that's why they're stretched so thin, barred from entry. Dead MMOs run by some Daybreak-style company. You have server maintenance, yeah, DDoS protection, stuff like that. And then a design team that can fit in a single studio apartment in a business skyscraper somewhere. One singular studio apartment for all of your devs to churn out the same expansion in a new color every 8 months, forever. And your margins probably aren't very high either. And so if you have like 40,000 people single-handedly creating like nostalgia machines somewhere else for EverQuest, running parallel to that, it's like probably good for you. At the end of the day, probably more people play than don't because of that. Even if a lot of them get gruntled and switch to EQMU for a while, or maybe even permanently. THJ got a lot of people who don't even play EverQuest into EverQuest. And a percentage of those people might end up giving Daybreak some Chrono Chuck E. Cheese dollars in the future. Dead MMO operators gaze longingly into the windows of the Dollar Tree and wish upon a star that they could have overhead like those stores. Yeah, I mean, more people work at the gas station 5 minutes from you than are working on EverQuest. The margins aren't big. Oh, I shouldn't have jumped down here yet. I hope I didn't break it. Did they not close like a third of the Dollar Tree locations? I mean, they probably did. What costs $1 anymore? What could a banana cost? $20? Undergoing a name change, the Dollars Tree. It was Family Dollar. Okay. 600 Family Dollar stores closed the first half of 2024. Plan to close another 370. And 30 Dollar Tree stores as leases expire. See? Even companies hate landlords.
Good job, King.
Femonk 100 thinks it's a big tier 1 50. You're celebrating America Day, doing the most American thing, eating a copious amount of food from another culture, and then maybe paint your model for the contest. Let's go. Model paint 'em. I might have forgotten to do one of these. I thought I was done. Is it this one? The Femonk at 50 months. He's at 50 monk subscriber. The British have pound towns. That's not true. That can't be true. The British have pound towns. Please. Like a mattress store, maybe. I did forget to do one of these. Okay. All right. Hey, all right. Technically, you are the second Femonk. You earned that title by succeeding your father. Did he have a duel with Freemonk?
So fucking big. I'm sorry, my dude, but you're huge.
You're huge. Thanks a bit, Sortorius. Check your Discord DMs. Oh no, is it real? The Pound Town? Pound Town, everything for £1. Damn, I can't believe it's not a mattress store. They missed out. Just a quid. No, a pound. Although I wondered about it because it seemed like people... It seemed like Britbongers talk about pounds and quid interchangeably, but also they say pounds when, like, it's the same amount, right? It's like, that's 500 pounds. And they'll say pounds when they want it to sound expensive, and they'll say quid when they want it to sound cheap. And so I was wondering what the difference was. As an American, I thought it was a different coinage. I'm like, oh, maybe pounds are like the EU units and quid are like the wibbly wobbly, you know, bad part of town shire, you know, nickel pieces or something, but actually I think it's like dollars and bucks. It's just it's a slang way of saying a dollar. It's like 50 bucks. And so like bucks would be quid and dollars would be pounds. And I think that's how it works. But I'm on the outside looking in. Same amount, like we say dollar and bucks. Yeah, that's what I thought. What the fuck is a quarter quitter sandwich? Hey, no quitters here. Etymology of quid unknown, but armchair diagnosis, quid pro quo, yeah. So an exchange, something to exchange. Yeah, I'll armchair believe that. Is Quidditch a real sport, or is it from Harry Potter? Which one's the one with the, like, the gay hammer that you hit pool cues around, or pool balls around with? In somebody's lawn? Oh, that's cricket. Never mind. It's fake. The British could never make a sport that interesting. Damn, he's right. Because I've seen the British Indian baseball, and brother, they can't make sports over there. No offense. Well, I guess maybe some offense by accident. Interesting. Bro, just catch the snitch. I don't know if you're making that up right now. It's like 200 points. The rest of it doesn't mean shit. Hey, alright. Like, I don't know if that's real. It sounds like you're making fun of it. So I don't know if that's real. That's from Quidditch? Okay. Is Quidditch from Harry Potter? Okay. Yes, alright. Like real British sport or from Harry Potter. Challenge impossible. They can't even make fake sports. Your point is that even the fake British sport is bad. Hey, alright. I suppose if on any day, if we're supposed to make fun of the British, I guess it should be 4th of July. Although they've been good allies. Same with the French. You know, they helped us win. They gave us the Statue of Liberty. They made Claire obscure Expedition 33. I don't know. I don't see a they invented croissants, probably. I don't have beef with the French. That's like 4 great things. You gotta make sure you don't eat a quaffler to the mout or even a bludger. Those are also nonsense Quidditch terms. Okay. I mean, they do sound like it. We bought like half our nation from them for 50 cents and some pocket lint. Yeah, dude. Same with Russia, dude. We bought Alaska for like $12. We fucking scammed them on that one. Holy. Worst sale in one of the worst sales in history was Soviets selling us Alaska. And then we instantly strike oil. Hey, all right. Nice one. For anyone wondering, this is the Plane of Time raid in EverQuest. You had a time limit to beat the whole thing, which was annoying. Features a lot of trash mobs. Everybody loves trash mobs, am I right? We'll put some more of them shits in there. U.S. history is just right place, right time, over and over. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it will take a lot of that to still be a country today, right? The unluckiest countries aren't anymore. To a certain degree, I guess. But if world history was a game of Risk, if it was like a video game, they would have to nerf like America's starting position. We would be seeing balance changes at key intervals throughout history. And you couldn't actually start here. It's too OP. Imagine getting to choose whether you want to even be involved in most of the major world events ever. Since you started existing. You just get to choose if you feel like it. World War I? Nah, not really. World War II? I guess. A lot of countries didn't have a choice. There's a raid in Classic WoW here. If you take too long, the boss fucks off and leaves a mean note. Classic WoW raid where the boss just leaves if you take too long. I'm trying to think what that could be. Oh, is that Major Domo? Does he fuck off after a while? I wonder. In BWL? Nefarian can just leave? His loot gets replaced with a note. Damn. You took too long. Have this note and this L. Next time, farm up more Onyxia hide capes so the more people live through Shadowflame without standing in the jank spot behind the throne. Next time, stop healing the tank when the priest gets the class call. This is why you don't have a bear tank Nefarian, because during Druid Call you turn into a cat and instantly die. The goop. Oh, I heard one firework. I heard one single firework. Is this when it begins at 8 p.m.? Alright, well let me get through this trash at least, and the two giant earth elementals to get into the zone with all the gods in it at least. Before the fireworks really start. I gotta go eat big dinner too. I had 2 hot dogs 9 hours ago. So I have developed a famishment. Minor. I mean, they were good hot dogs. Dank Priest of Inaruk. Imagine being undead and thinking you're a boss. Killed in a single hit. I don't know. They might have tuned Paladin anti-undead damage a touch high. I'm not going to complain. I don't think they should change it. But I'm hitting for like 3,000 average. And I hit undead for like 100,000. Maybe they wanted to throw Paladin a bone because it's just kind of like maybe Cleric is better or maybe being a warrior is better in your class combo or whatever, but they're like, oh, here's a dial we can turn up. Send undead to Pound Town, parenthetical real. You're also reading the OG Advanced D&D Player's Handbook. It's neat. Oh, man, I love that one. Advanced D&D. That was my jam. I grew up with that book. That shit was sick. I haven't gone back and read it. I wonder how nostalgic it will be if I do. I kind of want to now, but I feel like if I do, it's got to be, it can't just be some PDF. I got to like hold it in my hands, you know? We need the full, every sense. Sight, smell, sound. Sixth, common, and even touch. All right, the two big rock guys. You're up with Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights. Understandably, no one wanted to play TTRPGs with an 8-year-old. Yeah, fair enough. But no big deal. Start early means you're kind of an expert for when everybody else gets in on it. I mean, I wouldn't want to play D&D with an 8-year-old either. I'm going to be honest. Can't really blame them. It's just an unfortunate situation. It's like, I really like Commander. Hey, do you want to play Commander with someone who has... They're playing right now their 3rd game of Magic ever? No. I would not want to do that. That's not fun. No thanks. I want to play against somebody who knows what their cards do. When it gets to their turn and it's the first turn of the game, they put a land into play immediately and pass the turn instead of like, oh geez, this is the first time I'm looking at my hand in my whole life. I haven't thought at all about what I'm ever going to do on any future turn. Speaking of all that, 8 to 12-year-old cousins are playing D&D together. Oh, good. They got people their own age group doing it. That's good for them. It's 5th ed, though. But yeah, it's cool to see anyway. Anything to get them to use their imaginations a little bit. And, I don't know. I think it actually... Well, I was going to say it helps with some social interaction stuff. But maybe it doesn't. Looking at the outcomes. But maybe it would have been worse otherwise. I think it does and it doesn't. I think it attracts the kind of person who would need help with that. If I could say it in the least offensive way. Pay by the minute MMO. Ancestral gotcha. Yeah, the other option these days is to just be on a smartphone 24/7, so hey, alright. I mean, it could be worse. Yo, why is she just bouncing? She's just bouncing. Oh, the original Neverwinter, aha. Then the @ meant more than email. Oh, the debuff god. It's finally gone. Yo, Rallo Zek still gives me problems, actually. He hits so fucking hard. It's probably fine that he does. His abs are crazy. I have to actually use Mighty Strike on him. Which means I should try to kill him first, actually, so that the cooldown can be up for Quarm. But I gotta end up waiting for it anyway. I gotta find a better debuff remover than Crusader's Touch. The casting time is too slow. Mouth of Insanity. Alright, Terrorist Thule. Surrounded by undead. Oh yeah, I gotta set up another AOS game for Monday. Probably Monday and maybe Thursday and Friday. I'm gonna post in Discord after the stream. Because I really do, I want to complete it. I want to actually try and see if we can find somebody who plays every army. And play against all 25 armies. Soon to be 26, apparently. I wonder which one next. I kind of want to play against Stormcast. It's a good, like, litmus test for just the state of things in a certain respect. Elon Zach. The game spins you around when you get stunned or like knocked silly. It physically spins you around because you are like you're spin like a boxer who gets clocked. That's environmental storytelling. Next week is super busy, but the following week you're down to run Stormcast. Nice. Actually, wait. What day is that big reveal? There was a big reveal that I'm going to do a big reveal show on. What day was that supposed to be? I guess I could look in the Discord. Have we confirmed Chorfs, or is it just a rumor? I know that Rob said that Chorfs were on the way a long time ago. I don't know if he was speaking from he knows or just saying something. I'm not sure. But it's probably Chorfs. It's in Giga. It's in Giga. Big summer preview show Friday, July 18, 7 p.m. BST, which is Botanical Standard Time. I'll put it through the Google machine and see when in like real time that is. And it might be like the day before or after on account of how time zones work. So like, not next weekend, but the next. So 2 weeks from now, we'll know. And we'll do a big old show on it. -7 hours from US. Oh, good. Well, it's PM. That means it's noon. Noon's fine. You know, crack of dawn, right? It'll be a fine Friday. Yeah, I mean, they said hat jokes, so... So we're done for. Luckily, conceptually, it could be amazing with with how good their new sculpts are. If I don't see a Doom Train artillery train, I am going to riot. Peacefully. If they still look like the most caricature-ass, big-nose Rasputin, curly hair ass propaganda posters, it might not be the time to do that. Wait, no, it's the perfect time to do that. There's never been more sentiment for it. So maybe their fingers on the pulse. Well, we'll just see. We'll just have to find out. The Korn Underworld band was the worst. Yeah, that thing was terrible. But I don't know. I feel like they give their interns that stuff. Alright, level 2. We do Rallo Zek first. Because he needs Mighty Strike Discipline, and that shit has to be on cooldown for Quarm. What was that sound? I don't know. It was some sound of a guy getting hit, I think. In whatever sound pack Variant Interactive bought in 1997 to start making this game. And they've been using ever since without update. Alright, we blast. That might have seemed real easy, but if I didn't use 49 minutes worth of cooldowns, I would have been fucking destroyed. I learned my lesson. The modern MMO player fears the 1 hour cooldown. Look, lay on hands and harm touch for Paladin and Shadow Knight respectively. When the game came out, those were 12-hour cooldowns. 12-hour cooldowns. The modern MMO player gets mad when lay on hands doesn't proc automatically when you swing your weapon 3 times. Unlucky. Unlucky. Where's my lay on hands proc? Spell reagents. Also, howdy toasty. but this shit was the biggest dick button you could imagine. Actually, Lay on Hands basically sucked. It put you back to full life, but you often still died anyway. Which is nuts. Harm Touch was the shit, that's for sure. Essentially automatically kill just about anything you remotely should be fighting once a day. Harm Touch was quite cool and based. You remember playing Final Fantasy XI? Playing a dual-class Red Mage Dark Knight. I didn't make it very far in Final Fantasy XI. It was very EverQuestian, as far as MMOs go, as far as the brutality of it, and the, like, you have to group, otherwise you can't do anything sort of MMO. Red Mage got the capstone chain casting, which put all your other abilities on cooldown. Nice. Dark Knight had a 1-hour cooldown that casted from HP, which was one of the only stuns to affect bosses. Oh. Boss stuns. It is a little sad, isn't it? That you play an MMO and your class gets a stun, and you know in your heart of hearts that that shit is never going to work on a boss. And so sometimes you wonder why you're giving it at all. You're like, now I know you won't let me use this on a boss. So what the fuck is the point? You can only use it on the easy stuff? I don't need it on the easy stuff. But then again, if they let you use it on a boss, then 96 players would chain use it and the boss would just be stunned for half an hour and die. So I get it, but it is a little annoying. But that's why I keep coming back to stuff like EverQuest. Back when they were designing things without foreknowledge. Like, they didn't know better. They didn't know what they had to stop players from being able to do quite yet. Because they were sort of the first ones to do it in a certain respect. Like the entire Enchanter class. Where you could just go into a dungeon and mind control the boss. And then kill everything with him. Like, they didn't know that you shouldn't be allowed to probably do that kind of thing yet. And so, early MMOs like this, a lot of the mechanics make you feel like you're kind of getting away with something, because really you are. Or hey, I run real fast, and I pulse AoE damage. I run faster than the mobs. So I can run in a circle for 20 minutes and kill 300 guys. Like, you probably shouldn't let me do that. But it's fucking fun. Like, it's fun to break the system. Stun thing for 6 seconds or 1 server tick if a player, yeah. They just unchained a lot of stuff from the server tick problem on THJ though, Toasty. Bloodlust and Rage Zek specifically. Some other things too. Which has been awesome. I was used to Rage Zek lasting for basically 3 seconds at most, ever. And now it's like a guaranteed full. Been doing some really cool quality of life changes. Let the player break the system. Morrowind reference? Oh, yeah, yeah. The good Elder Scrolls game. The best one. Is that all of them, or do I have one left? I have one left. I'm going to wait for Warlord's Fury to come back. It shouldn't be too long, 20 seconds. After this, it's Quarm. Great beast of time. And I'm not quite rich enough yet to be able to solo Zabruxadux, or whatever his name is. Zeb. I'm not rich enough. I finally got some Earthen Bracers of Fortitude and leveled them up to legendary on this stream. But I do still need like 2 Signets of Might and a bunch of shielding and like 7 million platinum worth of augments that give shielding and give dodge percent and all. I'm just not rich enough to get any of that yet, so we're working on it. I cannot solo Zeb. But everything else is fine. $87. Oh, I've almost run out. I don't have anything good to buy. I've spent everything. I don't think I have any AA of consequence at all. I guess I could take all the crafting ones if I ever do that. More MMOs need to build puzzles for classes to solve other than genres. Yeah, ARPGs especially. The answer is like awkward. You might not like it, or the players might not like it. The answer really is. In Diablo 2, they just came up with stuff and typed it. And they're like, yeah, the player will figure out something. They'll just figure out a way to play this. Like, that's how they designed it. They're like, all these abilities, hey, this stuff seems cool. And the players will just figure out a way to combine it to end up being good. And then afterwards, we'll look at that and then maybe tweak a number or something, but they'll just figure it out. That's how Vanilla WoW worked. That's how Diablo 2 worked. Now I think there's way too much intention. They design backwards from the end point that they want you to do, and then they cut away everything that could be confusing or interesting or optional so that the new player isn't confused. And so it's like, okay, you essentially like get inside a railroad track and move forward exactly the way the dev wants, and it's like, okay, you've done that. But I think that's targeting a different type of brain. And it means that games nowadays are balanced much better. But who ever gave a single fuck about balance? Ostensibly, a lot of people, but most of them are mistaken, and the other ones are lying. So anyway, that's why Pathfinder 2 fucking sucks. I'm gonna do a video on it. I suppose it also has to do with target audience as well. Do you guys know the famous Kill Bill monologue at the end when he's talking about Superman? Do you know to what I'm referring? Where, what's his name? Kwai Chang Caine David Carradine. He does this whole monologue about why Superman is his favorite superhero. And like, it's not exactly true, but it's spoken from the character's perspective, and it makes sense to that character, and so on and so forth, right? So he's like, Superman is my favorite character, or my favorite superhero. Because you look at all the other superheroes, you have Batman, Spider-Man, you know, so on and so forth. And Batman has an alter ego. He is Bruce Wayne, and Batman is the superhero version of Bruce Wayne. When he was born, he was Bruce Wayne. And then he puts this mask on and he becomes Batman. And Peter Parker was born Peter Parker, and then he gets superpowers. He puts on a Spider-Man suit. He calls himself Spider-Man. That's his alter ego. But Superman, he was born Superman. Those are his clothes. His alter ego is Clark Kent. It's the other way around. And what are the qualities of Clark Kent? I'm like trying to remember this. It was more eloquent in the movie. What are the qualities of Clark Kent? Unassuming, unsure of himself, maybe clumsy, somewhat of a coward, right? And so but he's doing it to try to blend in with humanity. And so in a certain respect, that's like Superman critiquing the human race. And these are the qualities he chooses, right? Anyway, that was the Kill Bill monologue about Superman. And he's like kind of wrong, but it makes sense from that character's perspective. I'm tying this in with what I was telling you about previously. So now take that dynamic. These are the qualities ascribed to the human race, and they're all like pathetic from the alien Superman outsider guy. Now consider what are the qualities whenever anyone's making like a new ARPG or an MMO or a new ttrpg, like a 5th edition D&D, Pathfinder 2, whatever the most recent WoW expansion is, Diablo 4. They always talk about we want a smooth on-ramp for the new players. We don't want to confuse new players. We don't want to put any roadblocks or stumbling, or we don't want them to ever have to read anything or take their time or make any decisions. As fast as possible, just get them into the game and don't have them achieve anything. Everyone, they just want to see the content, you know? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm reminded of that sort of aside, I guess, or soliloquy maybe, about this is how he views humanity. And so I'm thinking, these studio executives and these game designers, how pathetic do they think the new player is, the mythical new player? Can the new player even breathe through their nose? Can they tie their shoes without too much drool landing on their shoelaces? Like what brainless, zero attention span kind of slime do they think new players are, in a certain respect? It's kind of insulting. Excuse me, Kalia, when did you start playing EverQuest? In 1999. That's when I started playing EverQuest. When this game came out. That being said, it's a private server. I come back to EQMU servers every once in a while. You know, ancient World of Warcraft for boomers. is not the only ancient MMOs I nostalgically play every once in a while. Anyway, it's good to see you, Fable. This guy is something of a druid over here. Players unironically love complex, unclear systems. Elden Ring shows that even the modern gamer can enjoy a harder game that does not vomit all the info at you. Yeah, I mean, they'll just look up a guide, right? That's sort of the thing. I guess to me, it's more like demographics. It's which audience are you targeting? You figured that out when you had 22k hit points at Quarm? Yeah. It's the Hero's Journey server. You actually choose 3 classes. And you get to gestalt, just combine all of them and create like a cool combination of 3 entire classes to solo stuff. And so it's fun coming up with different builds. Ooh, I want to be 3 pet classes and have 3 pets. I want to be, you know, the classic triangle. I'll be, you know, I'll have a tank, I'll have a healer, I'll have a DPS or whatever, and figure that out. You thought Daybreak was going to shut them down? Oh, they're suing them. Hell yeah. But they recently won their court battle over whether or not the server could stay up while they're being sued. So I get to keep playing it for at least a few more months. Our court system is back the fuck up. So I get to play the game for I don't know, probably at least another half a year. Until they settle out of court, because Daybreak is so poor that they'll probably drop the suit if they get a cut of the donies. Anyway, coming in. I have to cure his thing off every single time. Otherwise, all damage ceases and I'll die. Just try to have Mighty Strike last as long as it can. Oh, another one's back up. We'll purify it. It looks like I'm destroying him, but if I don't do the Mighty Strike every cooldown thing, the fight takes 35 minutes. I run out of mana and just die. So it's one of those. Alright, last chance. I have no more free cleanses, so if he puts another one on me, this might be a problem. I took some damage there. Okay. Hey. Earthen Bracer of Fortitude, legendary. That's worth 300,000 platinum. Always never stop just rolling 6s. Easy money. Shit is so rare. And after I just leveled up my 2. Dice are rolling hot tonight. Hey, thanks for the follow, Spider. Thanks for the follow, Spider, and thanks for the big primer. Appreciate it. You know, Spider _ you are lucky. You're good luck. Earthen Bracer of Fortitude, legendary. Was the best possible drop I could have gotten from that boss, I think. And it's incredibly rare. So you giving a prime at that moment was the thing that caused that to happen. Appreciate it. You think that when the games industry was growing rapidly, it was always younger audiences, more and more children joined, and as such, the most brain-dead slop got 1 million trillion sales? The turning point was when the Nintendo Wii came out. That was the turning point. It was when the video game industry finally started trying to capture the normal audience, the general public. The moms who like to drink and smoke when they're pregnant and also run Twitch. That was the turning point when everything started going downhill. And you and me, autistic fucking loser nerds, were no longer the main target audience. That was the beginning. You also think devs are getting away from building community? I think even when we redid Classic, how often we sat in BRD just grinding with the boys for the trinkets? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm not... Wait, what was the fourth thing you said? Yeah. What was that? It's like that fucking meme. If vaccines cause autism, how come America's trains suck so much? Checkmate, atheists. Damn, he's got a point. Alright, did I get any other notable loots? Let's see. Keen Vision, Smooth Onyx, Ring of Force. Oh man, this one I thought it was moss encrusted. That one's worth way more. Tiny Jade. Still technically legendary though, so at least there's that. Hoop of the Enlightened, Glowing Chains, Drape of the Unending, Distraction, the book. Sleeves, another distraction. I don't know if Cloak of Wishes is good for anyone, but it's legendary, so hey, alright. I think Ring of Evasion, no, I was thinking of something else. Intense Durability, Endless Torment, Mystical Protection, Fleeting Fury. Holy Vengeance, that's a cleric only. That's like kind of good for pets. Some other stuff, I'll keep it. Crystal Dreams, Visor of the Berserker. That one's good once you... Oh no, wait, that's... Which one is the Berserker? Oh, yeah, that's the Singing Resonance one. I don't think it's worth anything, but it's good. Echo Thoughts? No. Oh, Collar of Catastrophe, that's worth... it's only enchanted. Influx Gravity, I think that's good. Yeah, 50 heal and spell damage, sure, I'll take that. Thoughts? Huh? Gauntlets of Disruption are good, but they're pretty common. I think Hammer of Hours is okay, but... The Enchanter only Serpent, what does it do? Oh, it slows their attack speed. Okay. I mean, that might be, I don't know. Put it in the maybe pile. I need to look it up. Hopebringer Enchanted. I bet Hopebringers are pretty common. That's what I'm using myself. Thunderous Forces are pretty good. Stability. Celestial. And Time Spiner. Blade of the Hunter. The fact that you saw this game for the first time in the stream and immediately thought this game looks tight says a lot about the kind of person you have. Yeah. Look, it targets a demographic, and the demographic wants to grind and make spreadsheets about how to grind and what to grind for, and which breakpoints to hit. And when you're done grinding yourself, you grind 3,000 AAs. And then when you're done grinding 3,000 AAs, you grind all of your equipment because your equipment levels too. And then after that, you grind for your augs and grind them and combine them in a thing to make even bigger ones. Hey. And that's when the start of it, you choose 3 classes out of 18 or whatever, 16, and combine them into a combo. It targets a certain type. A certain kind. Anyway, hey, alright, I gotta head out. This has been a good time. I appreciate the new people as well. TY. TYVM. But I gotta eat some big dinner and turn the AC back on. I turn it off when I'm on the microphone, otherwise you'd hear it in the background and get annoyed. Thanks for watching, thanks for the subs and the follows and the bits and all that. I'm gonna see you guys next Monday for Age of Sigmar TTS game, then probably another one, then probably another one. But I might put some EverQuest in every once in a while. Because I like this old bad game. It's great. Anyway, I'm going to hit you with a commercial. Because apparently you've got new people in here. I'm going to hit you with a commercial. I made it. Please enjoy. And then I'll see you Monday.
Pardon me. Would you have any cream? But of course.
Grey Poupon. It even has cream.
Hello, everyone. I'm Scott, president of Domino's Pizza. Have you heard of Hatsune Miku?
Get a rope.
How do you get shirts so clean, Mr. Lee?
Ancient Chinese secret.
My husband, some
pure athlete, yeah.
Here's his ancient Chinese secret.
Cream.
Folks, I work with lots of people who wear dentures and smoke.
Mommy, how long will Charlie live?
1 second. I like the Whopper the way it was. Food.
The new Whopper has more beef than ever.
With luscious taste and a foamy trait.
Dunkin' Hines Yellow rises to great heights of moistness.
This is the day of great taste.
Deluxious.
This is the day of great moistness.
This deluxe yellow rises above the rest.
Mmm, moisture.
Haven't you ever tried it?
No. Is it soft?
Squeeze it.
Ooh, it is soft.
And help take a bite out of cream, yeah.
It still tastes good like a cigarette should.